You've been lied to. For years, they told you your birth year held a hidden truth. They said your birth date controlled your destiny. They swore your name held untold power, and that waking up at 3 a.m. meant something sinister. But what if I told you none of it is true? What if everything you believed about your birth, your fate, and these so-called spiritual laws was completely fake? For the first time ever, we're exposing the ultimate truth. A deep dive into the myths they never wanted you to question. Stay until the end because what you're about to learn will change how you see everything. Have you ever been told that the final digit of your birth year holds a secret power over your life? Perhaps you've seen videos or articles claiming that if you were born in a year ending in 0, you somehow embody emptiness and infinite potential, or that a year ending in 1 makes you a natural leader, and so on, all in the name of something called Buddhist numerology. It might sound fascinating, especially if you've never delved deeply into Buddhism or numerology before. But here is the bold reality. They lied about your birth year's last digit. Yes, that's a strong statement. However, in this deep dive, you'll see exactly why these popular claims about digit-based fates and personalities are nothing more than a fabricated myth, a blend of pop psychology, viral marketing, and vague spiritual references. They might hook you with words like energy, vibration, or ancient wisdom. But these claims crumble when held up against legitimate Buddhist teachings, historical context, and basic psychology. I encourage you to hit the like button if you appreciate myth-busting content that aims to bring clarity and truth to widely circulated misconceptions. Also, subscribe and comment below if you've ever encountered these birth year digit claims. Let me know which digit was supposedly yours and what traits they told you you'd have. Were you labeled a peacemaker, a spiritual guru, a wealthy go-getter, or an adventurous free spirit? By sharing, you can help us uncover how widespread these myths have become. Throughout this long-form exploration, we'll examine each commonly cited digit from 0 through 9, dissect the claims attached to each, and then compare those claims to real Buddhist principles. You'll also discover the psychological tricks that make these myths feel so compelling. And once we've stripped away the illusions, we'll refocus on what actual Buddhist philosophy teaches about personal growth, destiny, and how we shape our lives through intention and effort. One might wonder, why does it even matter if people believe in digit-based myths about their birth year? Isn't it just harmless fun? On the surface, it might seem like a quirky or entertaining idea, similar to how some folks casually read horoscopes for fun. But the difference here is that these birth year digit claims often invoke Buddhist numerology or ancient teachings to lend them credibility, persuading viewers to believe there's some real spiritual authority behind it. In some cases, believers might make life decisions about relationships, careers, or personal development based on these spurious claims. They might label themselves or others as non-stop adventurers or compassionate caregivers purely because of a numerical coincidence. They might even disregard actual growth opportunities or dismiss personal weaknesses that need attention because a reading said they were destined for something else. By exposing how these myths are constructed and why they have no real Buddhist foundation, we empower ourselves to seek authentic spiritual insights, ones that hold up across time, practice, and consistent ethical teachings. We also encourage a habit of critical thinking that protects us from countless other internet myths. So yes, it matters, and we'll address that in painstaking detail in the sections that follow. Let's outline the typical claims you might see online or hear in viral videos about the last digit of your birth year. The usual story goes something like this. If your birth year ends in 0, you supposedly embody the Buddhist concept of emptiness, shunyata, which gives you special power for renewal and transformation, with cyclical energies guiding your life path. If your birth year ends in 1, you're a born leader, a pioneer, always forging your own trail. someone gifted with unstoppable determination, courtesy of cosmic forces. If your birth year ends in 2, you're believed to be the ultimate peacemaker, always seeking harmony and balance, especially in the realm of yin and yang or other forms of duality. If your birth year ends in 3, creativity, self-expression, and exuberance define you. They claim it ties to some Trinity aspect in Buddhism, making you full of ideas and social energy. If your birth year ends in 4, you supposedly draw stability and practicality from the 4 elements or the 4 directions, with a strong sense of structure and dependability. If your birth year ends in 5, you're cast as a free spirit craving adventure, travel, and constant novelty. They say you're restless unless you're exploring or innovating. If your birth year ends in 6, compassion, empathy, and nurturing are your cosmic birthrights, allegedly tied to some universal caretaker energy. If your birth year ends in 7, you're the philosopher or mystic, constantly seeking spiritual or metaphysical truths, seeing beyond the surface of everyday life. If your birth year ends in 8, they promise success, wealth, ambition, sometimes referencing the Noble Eightfold Path or the cultural luck of the number 8 in some Asian contexts. If your birth year ends in 9, you're labeled altruistic, wise, near completion of cosmic cycles, brimming with universal compassion and global awareness. It all sounds so specific, so personal, and so grounded in authentic-sounding spirituality. But as we'll see, these attributions are essentially feel-good generalities, the sort of descriptors that countless people might recognize in themselves, regardless of their real birth year's final digit. The claims about last digit of your birth year in relation to Buddhism are a modern invention. While numbers do have symbolic importance in Buddhism, it's rarely about predicting personal fate or linking cosmic significance to one's birth date. Instead, legitimate Buddhist references to numbers typically revolve around the 4 Noble Truths, a central teaching on the nature of suffering and its cessation. The Noble Eightfold Path, ethical and mental training for anyone seeking enlightenment, not a preordained trait for certain births. 3 marks of existence: impermanence, suffering, and non-self, again, universal principles. 6 realms of existence, a symbolic framework describing different states of being or consciousness. 108 beads on a mala, used in meditation, but not as a personal code for character or destiny. In contrast, so-called Buddhist numerology that claims to decode your entire essence from a single digit is typically the result of New Age or pop spirituality movements blending various elements, Western numerology, Eastern religious terms, and psychological personality traits, into a system that feels exotic yet personal. It's easy to call it ancient Buddhist wisdom without citing actual canonical texts, because doing so gives it an aura of legitimacy. Many viewers find themselves captivated by the idea that a simple digit could define so much about them. Let's break down some key psychological reasons behind this fascination. The Barnum or Forer effect. This is a well-known phenomenon where people see themselves in vague, universally applicable statements like horoscopes or personality quizzes. If I say, you're warm-hearted but sometimes feel misunderstood, it resonates with the vast majority of humans. When birth year digit descriptors are similarly broad, you're a great caregiver, you sometimes doubt your abilities, it hits that Barnum sweet spot, making you think, that's me. Confirmation bias. We tend to remember events or personal anecdotes that align with a claim, ignoring all the contradictions. If you end in 5 and see yourself as adventurous, you'll highlight that road trip you took, forgetting the times you stayed at home for months. Desire for identity and belonging. Many of us yearn for a sense of belonging to a special group or having a unique label that sets us apart. Being told, you are a mystical 7 or you are a nurturing 6 can feel comforting and exhilarating. The lure of ancient wisdom, spiritual or cultural references, especially to Eastern religions like Buddhism, can make an idea sound more grounded and time-tested. It's like a marketing tactic. This is not just a random concept, it's ancient knowledge, even if actual ancient texts say no such thing. All these factors converge in the realm of birth year digit myths, making them quite popular. And that's partly why so many people fail to notice they've been lied to about the legitimacy of these claims. Let's dig into each commonly assigned meaning for digits 0 through 9. This breakdown might feel lengthy, but given how widely these beliefs have circulated, it's important to understand why each one lacks genuine Buddhist basis. Digit 0, emptiness and infinite potential. Myth. People say 0 resonates with the concept of emptiness, shunyata, implying a life of constant renewal, significant cyclical phases, and a unique openness to transformation. Reality. While emptiness is crucial in Buddhism, it's not a personal badge bestowed exclusively on those born in, say, 1980, 1990, 2000, or 2010. Emptiness describes the nature of reality, that nothing has an independent, permanent essence. Everyone and everything is subject to this truth, not just 0 births. If a myth claims otherwise, they're misrepresenting a fundamental teaching for a neat personality story. Digit 1. Individuality and leadership. Myth. This idea states you're a born leader, an innovator, forging new paths with confidence and unstoppable ambition if your year ends in 1. Reality. Buddhism emphasizes interdependence, that no one exists in isolation. This notion of singled-out leadership due to one's digit runs counter to core teachings on how we're shaped by conditions, efforts, and moral practice. While you might become a leader through skill and perseverance, it's not guaranteed by a final digit in your birth year. Digit 2, harmonizer and mediator. Myth. Because 2 is often associated with duality, yin and yang, it's said that if you're born in a 2-year, you're a natural peacemaker. Reality. Yin-yang is a Taoist concept, occasionally referenced in East Asian spiritual contexts, but not the foundation of Buddhist personality teachings. Moreover, many people, regardless of their birth year, strive for harmony. This is a classic example of the Barnum effect. There's nothing in the Dhammapada, the Pali Canon, or Mahayana Sutras that says 2 equals cosmic harmony gift. Digit 3, vibrant, creative, and expressive. Myth. You're a social butterfly, an artist, or a creative mind with endless imagination, supposedly tied to some Trinity aspect in Buddhism. Reality. There's talk of body, speech, and mind in Buddhist teachings, but that's a universal framework for understanding how we manifest our intentions. It does not say, if you were born in 1983 or 1993, you're especially creative. Creativity arises from personal interests, education, environment, not a digit. Digit 4, structure, stability, and the 4 elements. Myth. Because Buddhism and other traditions discuss the 4 elements, earth, water, fire, air, someone born in a year ending in 4 is grounded, practical, and methodical. Reality. The mention of 4 elements in early Buddhist texts helps explain the composition of physical phenomena. Nowhere does it say people with a 4 birth year inherently adopt those elements' qualities. Rigidity or discipline stems from learned behavior, not from a date's final digit. Digit 5, freedom and adventure. Myth. A year ending 5 is linked to wanderlust, passion for novelty, and an inability to tolerate the mundane. They claim you're always seeking new horizons. Reality. Buddhism talks about liberation, moksha or nirvana, but that's liberation from suffering, not an unquenchable thirst for novel experiences. People from every digit category can be adventurous or reserved. Tying restlessness solely to 5 is a superficial personality assignment with no textual backing. Digit 6, compassionate caregiver. Myth. This one highlights a strong maternal or paternal instinct, empathy, and a predisposition to serve or help, allegedly rooted in Buddhist teachings about compassion. Reality, compassion, karuna is indeed central to Buddhism, but it's taught as universal, something everyone should cultivate. There's no hint anywhere that 6 births have a monopoly on empathy. This claim is simply an appealing trait pinned on a digit to gain adherence. Digit 7, mystical and spiritual depth. Myth 7. Births are told they have an innate drive for philosophical or spiritual exploration, seeing beyond everyday illusions. Reality. The idea of 7 being mystical is widespread in many cultures, but it's not a uniquely Buddhist stance. True spiritual depth arises from meditation, ethical conduct, reflection, and study, open to all. No canonical Buddhist text endorses digit-based spiritual advantage. Digit 8, power, prosperity, and the Eightfold Path. Myth. Tying the noble Eightfold Path or cultural beliefs about the luck of 8 to year-end births is common. Allegedly, 8 births are destined for success, influence, or wealth. Reality. The Noble Eightfold Path is an ethical and mental training regimen for anyone pursuing enlightenment. Also, in some East Asian cultures, 8 is considered lucky. But that's a cultural notion, not a cosmic law guaranteeing success. Personal effort and social factors, not a digit, primarily shape one's achievements. Digit 9. Completion and global compassion. Myth. People with a 9-year supposedly have reached a near end of karmic cycles, brimming with universal love, spiritual wisdom, and readiness for new phases. Reality. While Buddhism references the cycle of rebirth, samsara, it's not about labeling 9 births as nearly complete in their journey. Completion or enlightenment is attained through persistent practice, insight, and moral living. No tradition says 9 is your golden pass to cosmic closure. Each of these digit-based claims is appealing in some way. Creative if you're a 3, stable if you're a 4, wise if you're a 7. Notice how none of these claims ever mention negative traits. This positivity is part of what makes them go viral. People like to hear uplifting things that seem personally tailor-made. But it's just a bait-and-switch tactic using Buddhism as a veneer of authenticity. You might ask, if these claims have no legitimate textual basis, where do they come from, and why do so many people believe them? The short answer is, these myths are effective at grabbing attention and appealing to basic psychological needs. Exoticism and authority. Slapping the label Buddhist numerology on an idea makes it sound exotic and historically grounded, even if the actual Buddhist tradition doesn't back it. Simplicity sells. A simple chart telling you digit X equals your Y is extremely shareable. People love easy solutions or short identity quizzes. Viral spread. Social media algorithms reward content that evokes curiosity and a sense of self-discovery. Emotional boost. Each digit's description is usually positive. Who doesn't like to hear that they're a natural leader, caring nurturer, or unstoppable creator? When you see a polished video or article, it often references centuries of Buddhist philosophy without naming a single actual sutra, commentary, or recognized teacher. That's a giant red flag. It might also use disclaimers like, "Some secrets have been lost until now," or "Few know about this ancient knowledge," reinforcing a sense of mystery or exclusivity. In reality, this approach is more about marketing than spirituality. While it might seem benign to identify with a certain number, there can be consequences. Limiting self-view. If you say, "I'm a 1, so I must always be in charge," you might miss out on opportunities to grow in collaboration or let others lead. Overlooking growth areas. Believing you're already compassionate or adventurous based on a digit might dissuade you from recognizing shortcomings or exploring new skills. Misplaced blame. Some folks might rationalize negative behaviors. I'm restless because I'm a 5, instead of taking responsibility for personal change. Spiritual confusion. Tying your identity to false religious claims can undermine genuine paths of self-improvement and ethical practice. Instead of focusing on mindfulness or compassion as universal qualities, you treat them as digit-based entitlements. This is why we emphasize so strongly that they lied about the deeper meaning behind your birth year's last digit. It's not just a harmless curiosity. It can distort your approach to self-development. To emphasize the disconnect between these digit-based myths and real Buddhist teachings, consider some fundamental Buddhist ideas. Non-self, anatta. The Buddha taught that there's no unchanging, permanent essence in any individual. If that's the case, how could the final digit of your birth year define your stable, unalterable personality traits? Real Buddhism suggests you're in constant flux, shaped by volitional actions and conditions, not a number. Impermanence, anicca. Everything is in motion. Believing a single digit at birth locks you into a destiny or trait defies the principle of impermanence. You can evolve in countless directions over your lifetime. Karma. In Buddhism, karma is not about a random cosmic code at birth, it's about intentional actions. The ethical quality of your actions, repeated over time, shapes your experiences. No digit will override that reality. 4 Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. These are broad frameworks for understanding suffering, its cessation, and how to cultivate ethical, mental, and emotional well-being. They apply universally, not just to those with certain digits. Compassion for all, teachings on loving kindness, metta, and compassion, karuna, do not single out certain individuals as more predisposed based on birth year. Everyone is encouraged to develop these qualities. Clearly, the real heart of Buddhism revolves around universal truths, shared ethical guidelines, and the potential for every person to awaken. There's no mention of a cosmic birth digit script in any recognized canon. Like and subscribe. If you appreciate exploring truth behind popular misconceptions, do hit that like button and subscribe for more myth-busting and genuine spiritual insights. Comment your experience. Have you or someone you know ever believed in these digit-based claims? Which digit spoke to you? Comment below and share your story. Share this video. Spread awareness by sending this video to anyone who might be caught in or curious about these myths. Let's help each other spot misinformation. Stay critical. Going forward, always question spiritual claims that promise easy identities or ancient secrets without credible sources. Let me know in the comments if you want more tips on how to evaluate such content. As we move through this massive exploration, remember that open-minded curiosity is great, but letting ourselves be duped by well-packaged misinformation can derail or delay genuine growth. In case you're still curious about why these myths gain traction, let's delve more deeply into the mental processes at play, beyond the brief mention of Barnum and confirmation bias. Social proof. If a video or article claims it has millions of views and thousands of testimonials, you may assume it must be right. In reality, popularity doesn't always correlate with truth. People often share content that feels personally affirming, even if it's factually baseless. Cognitive ease. Our brains prefer simple explanations. I'm a 3, so I'm creative is far easier to digest than a nuanced exploration of how creativity forms over years of practice, environment, and neural development. Narrative cohesion. Humans love stories. Linking a single digit to a grand story. Because you're a 6, you have a deep soul mission to care for others, feels more satisfying than your caregiving tendencies emerged from your upbringing, personal choices, and broader moral convictions. A neat story is often more memorable than messy truths. Some defenders of the digit-based system might argue, but it's ancient. They might say it's from an old Buddhist monastery or lost texts. But actual Buddhist scholars find no references in widely accepted canons. Almost always, these claims come with zero credible citations. It resonates, so it must be real. Personal resonance doesn't equal factual accuracy. Many descriptions resonate simply because they're broad and positive. Maybe it's an esoteric tradition. While different Buddhist cultures have integrated local folk beliefs, none of these folk systems revolve exclusively around the last digit of birth years. Even if some numerological tradition existed locally, it wouldn't overshadow the mainstream canons recognized globally by Buddhists. I tried it and it worked for me. This is likely anecdotal evidence. If someone strongly identifies with being a 5, they might unconsciously reinforce that narrative in daily life, ignoring conflicting behaviors. If your birth year's last digit doesn't define you, what does? According to Buddhism and many other wisdom traditions, you're shaped by your intentions. The ethical or unethical quality behind your actions significantly influences who you become. Habitual choices, repeated behaviors, form dispositions and character over time, a process recognized both spiritually and psychologically. Mindfulness and reflection, becoming aware of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions, helps you consciously steer your personal growth. Moral and spiritual practice, compassion, generosity, patience, and other virtues are cultivated through consistent effort, not cosmic birth codes. This perspective empowers you to evolve. You're not locked into some destiny or personality trait determined by a single digit. Instead, you're an active participant in your life's unfolding. To really drive home how these digit meaning descriptions exploit the Barnum effect, consider a hypothetical example. Suppose we create a statement for birth year ending in 7. You often feel a deep urge to discover hidden truths, yet you sometimes fear that others don't truly understand how profound your thoughts can be. You excel at offering advice, but sometimes you keep your own struggles private, waiting for the right moment or the right person to confide in. That statement is likely to resonate with a large majority of people, not just those with a 7. This is because it highlights human experiences, feeling misunderstood, giving advice more freely than seeking it, harboring deeper interests. It feels intimate, so someone with a 7 might exclaim, "That's me." Meanwhile, the same statement could apply to many 3 or 8 or 1 individuals if they choose to see themselves in it. The birth year digit story is just one of many spiritual-sounding claims that bubble up online. You might encounter others like your name's letters reveal your karmic debt, or your house number shapes your family's harmony. While numerology can be interesting as a cultural or mystical curiosity, it's crucial to approach these systems with critical thinking. Demands for evidence. If something is said to be from an ancient text, ask for references, translations, or credible scholar support. Observing vagueness. If the descriptions are all positive or universally applicable, it's likely exploiting the Barnum effect. Seeking diverse perspectives. Check what recognized spiritual teachers or well-known Buddhist monastics say about such claims. Assessing the marketing angle. Sometimes these myths are peddled by authors or influencers who profit from selling readings, ebooks, or courses. By developing this evaluative mindset, you'll safeguard yourself against future "they lied to you" revelations. Let's shift focus to the depth of genuine Buddhist philosophy, why so many are drawn to it, and how it truly helps personal growth. Suffering, dukkha. Rather than providing quick identity labels, Buddhism starts by acknowledging that life involves suffering or unsatisfactoriness. Identifying and understanding its causes, ignorance, craving, aversion, is the gateway to transformation. Ethical living. The precepts, no killing, no stealing, no lying, no sexual misconduct, no intoxicants in many traditions, are about actions that shape a more harmonious society and clearer conscience. Mindfulness and concentration. Systems like Vipassana, insight meditation, or Zen offer methods to calm the mind and see reality more clearly. Compassion and loving kindness. Developing metta, loving kindness, is for everyone, not restricted to a special year digit. It involves viewing others with goodwill, wishing them well, and practicing generosity, impermanence, and non-self. By meditating on how everything changes and how there's no unchanging I, practitioners reduce clinging, thereby reducing suffering. None of these crucial teachings revolve around the final digit of your birth year. Instead, genuine Buddhism guides a path open to anyone, any year, any background, who sincerely applies the teachings in daily life. If you're seeking authentic spiritual enrichment instead of digit-based illusions, here are steps you might consider. Study foundational texts, the Dhammapada, the Majjhima Nikaya, or certain Mahayana sutras, like the Heart Sutra, can offer direct insights into Buddhist thought. Attend reputable centers, look for recognized temples, monasteries, or certified meditation teachers with a known lineage. They typically won't mention year-digit destiny. Practice meditation, start small. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day focusing on your breath can build mindfulness and clarity. Engage in ethical activities. Generosity, volunteering, practicing kind speech. These build positive karma and reflect the universal virtue approach, not a digit-based approach. Self-reflection. Journal about your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Notice patterns that might need adjusting. This is how real transformation happens, through continuous awareness and directed effort. Give this video a thumbs up if you value myth-busting content that clarifies spiritual misinformation. Subscribe for more. Let's explore more about genuine Buddhist teachings, mindful living, and illusions in spirituality. Comment your thoughts. Have you previously followed these digit claims, or do you have a friend who swears by them? Let's discuss your experiences below. Share with others. If you suspect someone might be making life choices based on these myths, share this resource so they can get a more grounded perspective. These actions help foster a community of informed and discerning viewers. Let's pause and address something that might be on your mind right now. What if you actually enjoyed believing in your digit-based description? Maybe it made you feel special, or you saw it as a comforting identity. Does debunking this myth mean everything you found meaningful is now worthless? The answer is more nuanced. Any positive insight you gained, like discovering you're creative, compassionate, or adventurous, doesn't have to vanish. Those traits can be cultivated and refined regardless of birth year digits. If you thought you were a 6 because you're caring, that's great. Keep nurturing empathy for all beings. Just recognize it's a choice you make, not a fixed destiny assigned by a numeric code. One of the biggest reasons these myths spread is the allure of hidden wisdom, the idea that you've tapped into something exclusive or arcane. But genuine spiritual teachings, especially within Buddhism, are openly shared in temples, monasteries, and reputable sources worldwide. If someone insists you need a digit-based system or a hush-hush formula to unlock real teachings, that's almost always a sign of marketing gimmicks rather than recognized tradition. Wondering if there's any real precedent for birth year digit beliefs in Buddhist history? Let's take a snapshot. Early Buddhism in India focused on the Four Noble Truths. Numerology never dominated core doctrine. Theravada in Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. Folk astrology popped up, but official teachings stayed anchored in the Pali Canon. No digit-based destinies mentioned. Mahayana and Zen in East Asia. Some local numerological customs exist. Feng Shui, Taoist influences, but not specifically about your birth year's last digit. Tibetan Vajrayana. Complex cosmologies appear, Yet there's no recognized practice that labels people by the final digit of their birth year. Modern Western interest. New Age authors often splice Western numerology with Eastern wisdom, leading to cross-cultural myths, not ancient secrets. In short, no Buddhist lineage endorses final-digit personality codes. Digital misinformation often uses the same tactics, cherry-picking terms, out-of-context references to emptiness, compassion, or the four elements. Unverifiable claims, whisperings of lost manuscripts or monks in hidden valleys, nobody can trace. Testimonial over-reliance, basing truth solely on personal anecdotes. I read I'm a 1, and now I'm a CEO. Ignoring contradictions, overlooking those 1 folks who never led anything or 5 folks who don't travel. It's totally normal to experience curiosity, relief, or even disappointment upon learning these digit myths aren't real. Ask yourself, what drew me to these claims? Was it the positivity, the feeling of belonging, or spiritual intrigue? Am I open to a self-driven path of growth that doesn't rely on a birth date destiny? How can I replace these myth-based beliefs with genuine practices like meditation, mindfulness, or ethical living? There's no shame in having believed something and then learning otherwise. Growth is about evolving our perspectives. When you shift focus to actual Buddhist teachings or any robust spiritual system, you move from passively accepting digit labels to actively cultivating the qualities you admire. So, if you crave compassion, try loving kindness meditations or volunteer work. If you want structure, practice mindful routines and consistent self-discipline. If leadership calls you, study what true leadership entails: empathy, clear communication, and moral courage. All of these steps are within your control, no matter what year you were born or how that year ends. If this deep dive helped clarify misconceptions, consider subscribing for more content that cuts through spiritual confusion. Sharing with friends who might still be hooked on the birth year digit hype. Sometimes a calm, factual explanation is all they need. Commenting with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future myth-busting topics. Discussion fosters community insight. We can all learn from each other. What if you still resonate with your digit's description? Remember, that feeling can arise from coincidence or universal truths that apply to many. It doesn't confirm a cosmic code. Instead, channel that resonance into deliberate action. You're free to be as empathetic or adventurous as you wish. No number required to justify it. Here's the bottom line. Birth year digits don't define you. They never did. Any spiritual path worth its name, Buddhism included, emphasizes ethical living, mindfulness, and authentic self-discovery, not superstitious labels. In the end, our destinies hinge on how we choose to live, not on a single digit in our date of birth. But what if there's more to uncover about birth dates overall? Could this numbers obsession be misleading us in even bigger ways, beyond just that final digit? If you feel that tug of curiosity or a nagging sense of doubt, but maybe my entire birth date holds secret power, get ready for our next eye-opening installment. They lied about your birth date. Here's why. You'll be amazed at how deep this rabbit hole goes. Meanwhile, remember, your potential isn't locked behind numbers. It blossoms through knowledge, conscious choices, and genuine practice. Before you go, do me a quick favor. Like this video if you gained new insight. Comment below with your thoughts, questions, or personal experiences. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next 9 videos launching today, each one busting myths and revealing deeper truths. Share this with anyone who might still be on the fence about digit-driven beliefs. What if I told you that everything you've ever heard about your birth date, determining your karma, everything that claims your life's direction, fate, and spiritual outcome is locked into those numbers on your birth certificate, means absolutely nothing? Stop for a moment. Let that question linger in your mind like a whispered secret. Some of you might already feel that tug of disbelief. You might be thinking, I've read so many articles or watched so many videos that say otherwise, so how can this possibly be true? Or maybe you're leaning in closer, intrigued by the possibility that you've been following a script that never had any real pages. If you feel that inner debate flickering, hold on to it, because that tension is exactly the crack through which new insights can shine. You might have been told that your birth date carries deep secrets or unlocks your cosmic blueprint, that your karmic destiny is shaped by the day, month, and year you took your first breath. But what if every bit of that is just a story we collectively tell ourselves, a story that does more harm than good? Let's not rush. We'll examine this possibility layer by layer. By the end, you may find yourself questioning how you ever believed otherwise, or you might land somewhere in between, deciding to keep certain beliefs while discarding others. Both outcomes are valuable, as long as they're reached with open-minded curiosity. And here's a little open loop for you right now. Could it be that releasing the belief in your karmic date actually sets you on a more authentic spiritual path? That might sound contradictory, but keep this question in mind. We'll circle back to it in surprising ways. I can practically sense some people ready to argue in the comments, itching to exclaim, "But my birth date does determine my cosmic path." If that's you, stay with me for a moment, because by the time we're finished, you'll have the mental tools to see why this idea, this seemingly innocent belief that your birthday decides your karma, simply doesn't hold up under scrutiny. It might even leave you questioning other long-held convictions. Isn't that exhilarating, though? The freedom that comes with realizing you are not confined by the numbers on your birth certificate, that your destiny, your life purpose, and your sense of self might be more dynamic and under your control than you've been led to believe. Let that sink in. Picture a world where your date of birth isn't a cosmic prison, but just one piece of a massive puzzle. How might that shift your perspective on relationships, goals, and self-discovery? Whisper to yourself right now, I am more than a date. If you believe this, or even if you're just curious, pause for a second and drop a like to amplify that intention for anyone else reading. In a digital age, our simple actions, likes, comments, shares, can transform a random thought into a movement. Are you up for being part of that spark? Before you scroll away in disbelief or reflexively click off, consider something. You might find this entire perspective eye-opening, perhaps the permission slip you need to break free from a karmic cage you never realized you were in. If you find yourself skeptical, that's perfect. A little dose of doubt can pave the way to genuine discovery. In fact, if you're comfortable, leave a comment about the number one doubt you have right now. Call it out. By naming our doubts, we often empower ourselves to confront them. Let's begin by challenging your belief system. Comment now if you think your birth date defines you, and while you're at it, if you're feeling bold, leave the phrase, "I think for myself," to let everyone know you're ready to free yourself from this cosmic fairy tale. Let's see how many of you are willing to confront this, to question everything you've assumed was true. If you've been on the fence, consider this your invitation to step into the unknown, an open loop that might lead you to a breakthrough you never expected. Many people I've met genuinely believe their entire life trajectory is dictated by some numerological karma embedded in their birth date. You might have believed it too. If so, I'm not blaming you. Humans have always sought patterns to make sense of life's chaos. It's comforting to say, my life is going this way because I was born on this specific day. But comfort doesn't always mean truth. If you're wondering whether Buddhism or other ancient traditions really teach that birth dates are cosmic destiny, here's a major spoiler. A lot of what passes as karmic numerology these days is a modern hodgepodge of Western numerology, personal development jargon, and generalized pop spiritual beliefs. It's not a core, historically grounded Buddhist teaching, and that's not all. Many of the so-called ancient secrets you've seen might not be ancient at all. They can be repackaged ideas from the early 20th century or from modern social media thought leaders, rather than centuries-old spiritual texts. Let's keep that thread open. Maybe we'll discover more about how these myths have proliferated and why they persist. Keep listening, because we'll loop back to it in a chapter that might make you question everything you thought was ancient wisdom. Affirmation alert: I honor truth, not trendy beliefs. If you resonate, type it below so we can all see who's committed to digging deeper. Simply writing those words can feel like a small act of rebellion against mass-market spirituality. The main premise we're questioning is the idea that your birth date defines your karma. Let's flip that on its head. In reality, your karma, if we interpret the word broadly to mean the consequences of your actions and intentions, is shaped by your choices, your environment, your upbringing, your decisions, not the digits on your birth certificate. Let me plant another open loop here. What might your life look like if your beliefs were shaped more by your conscious intentions and less by an arbitrary date? Keep that question on the back burner as we progress. You might be surprised at the answers that surface. In a moment, we'll explore the psychological tricks, confirmation bias, the Barnum effect, the illusion of causality that lure us into feeling these numbers hold magical truths. Then we'll shine a bright scientific light on them and watch them fade away. But as I introduce these concepts, I want you to stay alert to any inner reactions you have. Do you feel defensive, excited, or maybe a bit unsettled? Each reaction is a clue about how deeply these beliefs might be rooted in your psyche. By the time you reach the end of this monologue, you might feel relief instead of disappointment. Because once you shed the notion that a specific date seals your fate, you open the door to endless possibilities. You reclaim a level of agency you may never have realized was there. If that excites you, hit share right now and challenge someone else to break out of these numeric myths. Think about how one small share can plant a seed of doubt. Doubt that, ironically, might grow into a beautiful tree of newfound clarity. We should also consider a critical question. Is it harmless to believe in birth date-based karma? Some might argue it's just a bit of fun, but is it really harmless if it leads you to surrender personal responsibility or misjudge yourself and others? That's another area we'll return to in more depth, because if believing in something false holds us back in ways we don't initially see, maybe it's not as benign as we think. Have you ever paused to imagine what it was like for our ancestors thousands of years ago, looking up at a night sky bursting with stars, no city lights, no technology to decipher the cosmos, and feeling compelled to create stories that explain it all? In that vast darkness, patterns like constellations became a source of meaning. Maybe you've seen pictures of ancient star maps where people connected dots to create mythical beasts or heroic figures. These connections served a purpose: navigation, agricultural cycles, but they also satisfied a deep-rooted need for structure in a mysterious universe. Fast forward to modern times. We might think we're more sophisticated, armed with our scientific knowledge and digital conveniences. Yet deep down, we still crave cosmic significance. Instead of painting myths across the sky, we paint them onto the calendar. Our birth date, our zodiac sign, or anything that promises a sense of cosmic order. Ask yourself, am I seeking order or comfort in an otherwise chaotic existence? Let that question echo as you move through the rest of this video. You might find it illuminates why you or others still cling to the notion of a birth date-based destiny. Have you heard someone say, "I know birth date karma is real because my friend and I were both born on the same day, and we share all these crazy similarities"? It's tempting to latch onto stories like that, especially when they're shared with genuine excitement. But anecdotes, no matter how convincing, don't prove a universal law. Sure, you and your friend might have random similarities, but how many differences are you ignoring? We rarely hear from the thousands of pairs of people who share a birthday, yet live drastically different lives. That's the silence overshadowed by the rare coincidences. Silence doesn't go viral. Sensational coincidences do. If you're scrolling through social media and see a post about two karmic twins born on the same day, notice how you react. Are you drawn in by the novelty? Do you ignore the fact that countless other same-day births yield no remarkable parallels? It's a potent reminder of how easily we can be swept up by a compelling anecdote, even when the broader evidence is lacking. In many religious and mystical traditions, the most profound teachings involve surrendering to the present moment, cultivating compassion, or recognizing an unconditionally loving force. Notice how few revolve around your exact birth date. If the day you were born was so pivotal, wouldn't it appear in scripture after scripture, sermon after sermon? Yet instead, we see consistent messages about how our actions, our relationships, and our choices create the tapestry of our lives. This begs another question. Is it possible that focusing on your birth date might distract you from living the real spiritual values like kindness, patience, and introspection? That possibility can be unsettling. We often want a quick cosmic reference point. Am I a 7 or a 9? Does that define me? Rather than doing the deeper work of self-awareness that has no easy label. Let's talk about why so many people cling to birth date-based beliefs. Psychology reveals plenty of clues. Like everyone, we rely on cognitive shortcuts, mental biases that help us navigate a complicated world, but sometimes lead us astray. One is our quest for meaning. We're pattern-spotting machines, constantly looking for any sign that life is orchestrated by some cosmic design. Another reason is our deep fear of uncertainty. Life can be chaotic. It feels safer to think that a cosmic plan has it all mapped out. Social reinforcement also plays a role. If your friends or social media circles routinely talk about karmic birth dates, it becomes the norm. You find anecdotal proof that confirms it for you and ignore the bigger picture. Debate prompt. Are you brave enough to face the idea that no date is dictating your life? Share your thoughts. Let's make this comment section a battleground of ideas, because that's how breakthroughs happen. You might be surprised by who else is questioning the same things, or who might vehemently disagree with you, sparking a debate that could open new doors for both of you. Turning to historical context, numerology has existed for centuries in various civilizations. But the specific idea that your birth date cements your karmic destiny is more modern than most realize. It's a patchwork of Eastern and Western beliefs, helped along by social media, pop spiritual gurus, and a lucrative market for personalized karmic readings. Authentic Buddhist teachings center on how your intentions and actions generate karmic outcomes. You won't find canonical scriptures declaring, "Beware if you're born on the 7th, it dooms you to heartbreak at age 28." That's simply not in the foundational texts. But there's another angle to explore. Why would certain teachers or traditions continue to promote birth date karmic theories if they aren't genuinely ancient? Could there be something profitable about it, or at least attention-grabbing? Could it be an easy way to hook people into a system that promises quick cosmic answers? Keep that line of inquiry open, because once we crack open the entire world of New Age marketing tactics, you may see spiritual content online in a different light. Now let's talk about how we get fooled by confirmation bias, the Barnum effect, and the illusion of causality. Confirmation bias means you'll notice every instance that affirms your belief and ignore evidence that challenges it. For instance, if you believe that people born on the 14th are prone to relationship drama, you'll highlight every acquaintance with that birth date who struggles romantically. Meanwhile, you'll barely register all the 14th born folks who have stable relationships. The Barnum effect is when vague, universally true statements, "you value kindness, but worry about being misunderstood," feel uniquely tailored to you. This effect underlies many personality quizzes and astrology columns. We see it, think it's describing us perfectly, and assume it must be based on cosmic truths. What if something else you wholeheartedly believed, beyond just birth date karma, was also using Barnum statements to reel you in? That might be a startling thought, but keep it somewhere in the back of your mind as we go forward. The illusion of causality has us linking unconnected events, like having a fight soon after a numerology reading that said tense relationships ahead, and thinking the reading was right. We ignore the fact that fights or misunderstandings can happen at any time for reasons unrelated to a date-based destiny. None of this negates spiritual mysteries or genuine personal growth. It simply means birth date-based karma doesn't withstand scrutiny. Take it to any statistician or psychologist, and they'll find no credible evidence supporting the claim that people born on the same date share a prescribed spiritual fate. If it were true, entire blocks of people on Earth would be living carbon copies of each other's destinies. That simply isn't reality. In older, more authentic karmic teachings, particularly within Buddhism, your daily actions, intentions, and thoughts carry the weight of shaping your experiences. If you treat others kindly, you cultivate positive outcomes. If you harbor resentment, you foster negativity. That's the cycle. Nowhere does it say, but if you're born on the 12th, you can't escape relationship turmoil. Instead, it says, if you continually act out patterns of jealousy or fear, you will see more jealousy and fear manifest in your life. So here's a question for you. Could you apply that principle right now to break a negative pattern you're seeing in your life? You don't need to wait for a shift in the calendar or a favorable alignment. You can decide to shift yourself. That might feel both daunting and liberating, but guess what? Daunting is where real growth often begins. Letting go of old beliefs can feel like losing a piece of your identity. That's normal. On the other side, though, is uncharted territory where you define yourself by your values, habits, and dreams, not by some cosmic code. If that resonates, comment, "Hello, uncharted territory," as a signal to others that you're stepping into this new space of possibility. If birth date-based karma was real, we'd see robust evidence in global populations. Entire groups of people born on the same date would show identical patterns of moral or spiritual challenges. Yet, that doesn't exist. People born minutes apart in different circumstances can lead drastically different lives. A twin might have a wholly different personality from their sibling, or a friend with the same birthday might have an upbringing that sets them on a contrasting path. This is where it becomes critical to highlight what Buddhism and many other traditions actually stress: personal responsibility. If you believe your birth date dooms or blesses you to a specific karmic trajectory, you risk surrendering your power. You may think, "Oh, I'm stuck in toxic relationships because of my karmic birth blueprint. There's nothing I can do." This outlook can become self-fulfilling. Instead, if you recognize that your decisions and perspectives shape your life, you reclaim agency. You can reflect on why you choose certain partners, how you communicate, and whether you've truly learned from past mistakes. Suddenly, your future is a wide-open field rather than a narrow path predetermined by the calendar. Affirmation: I embrace the discomfort of growth. If you feel a stir of excitement or even anxiety upon hearing that your destiny is in your hands, write it in the comments for everyone else to see. You might be giving someone else the courage to do the same. Sometimes that realization creates a startling internal tension. Part of you wants the comfort of a cosmic plan. Another part yearns for self-determination. If you feel that mental tug-of-war, that's cognitive dissonance, and it's a sign you're on the edge of real transformation. Embrace the discomfort. Let it be the teacher that propels you toward deeper self-awareness. Underneath all these beliefs lies a simple, deeply human fear. What if there's no plan? What if my life is random? That thought can be terrifying, leading us to cling to any system that says, "No, it's not random. Your day, month, year, These are the signposts of your destiny. But randomness doesn't have to be bleak. It can be a canvas on which you paint your life story free from cosmic constraints. Or, from a spiritual perspective, maybe it isn't random, but it's also not dictated by dates. There could be a more intricate interplay of free will, interconnectedness, and personal growth that no single date can capture. It's true that some numerology or birth date-based guides offer beneficial advice, like suggesting patience or mindfulness. But that's generic wisdom, not something inherently tied to a date. If these guides dropped the cosmic claim and just offered grounded tips, would they lose their appeal? Possibly, because many of us crave that sense of uniqueness. This is about my special date. So, ironically, the cosmic packaging might be what attracts us, even if the core teachings are universal. So if your birth date doesn't define your karma, what does? In Buddhist terms, your continuous actions, your state of mind, your intentions, moment by moment. In a more secular sense, everything from your upbringing and culture to your genes and free choices. It's a tapestry of factors. Complex, yes, but also free. Complexity means you can shift your path at any time instead of being stuck in a cosmic lockstep. That's powerful, but it also means you can't blame everything on your birth date. Are you prepared for that level of accountability? Debate Q. Are you ready to accept a more complex but ultimately empowering worldview? Let us know below. Or do you prefer the comfort of a single digit-based blueprint? There are no wrong answers, only honest ones. This is yet another moment of reflection that invites you to figure out exactly where you stand. Will you pick convenience or complexity? Or maybe find a balance that works for you? If this resonates with you, if you feel that rush of possibility, comment, "I decide my destiny." It's a potent way to show you're stepping beyond the limitations of a birth date myth. And if you're not convinced, challenge me in the comments. Let's dig deeper. Real growth comes from civil disagreement, not hiding from it. Often, the best revelations arise when we clash ideas, question assumptions, and remain open to new evidence. You might be thinking, but what about birth months or spirit animals? Because yes, people also like to say that your birth month not only reveals your personality, but pairs you with a spirit animal that supposedly defines your fate. If that intrigues you or makes you even more skeptical, you're in luck. My next video is all about "They lied about your birth month and spirit animal. Here's the truth." We'll dive into how environment, cultural conditioning, and myth-making create illusions about which animal you allegedly embody. Trust me, the rabbit hole goes deeper than you think. Check out our next video, "They Lied About Your Birth Month and Spirit Animal." Here's the truth. Click on it to keep your momentum going. If you've liked what you've learned here, or if you're hungry for more myth-busting, you won't want to miss that conversation. But here's another question or thought. Have you ever wondered whether the entire concept of spirit animals might be a cultural misinterpretation or a commercial invention? If you feel that question tugging at your conscience, definitely stay tuned for the next installment. Imagine for a moment, not only is your birth date not an all-powerful karmic stamp, but your birth month and spirit animal might also be illusions propped up by cultural trends. Feeling that twinge of unease yet? That's good. It means you're questioning. Welcome to the gateway of cognitive dissonance, a fertile ground for real change. Instead of pushing away that discomfort, dwell in it for a bit. You might find it leads you to deeper self-awareness than any karmic reading ever could. A classic example. In some countries, children born just before the school year cutoff date might be younger than most of their classmates. Over time, this influences confidence, social roles, and academic performance, none of which is cosmic. Yet, ironically, people might attribute these differences to birth month-based traits or zodiac influences. What if that's simply environment, not destiny? The next video will break down how these illusions often arise from everyday factors instead of a grand cosmic script. If you're ready for the next step, subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our deep dive into birth month myths and so-called spirit animal truths. And if you know anyone who's constantly labeling themselves by a date or zodiac sign, send them this link. Let's spark conversations that liberate rather than confine. You never know whose life you'll change by simply sharing an alternate viewpoint. Remember, you are not bound by the digits on your birth certificate. You shape your destiny with your decisions day after day. That's what real spiritual teachings emphasize, the present moment as the pivot point for change, not some cosmic scoreboard that tallies your entire future based on a single date. Let's circle back to that open loop from the very start. Could releasing the belief in your karmic date actually set you on a more authentic spiritual path? Think about how many spiritual traditions highlight intentions and actions over predestined codes. Isn't it possible that focusing on the living, breathing reality of your daily choices is more aligned with genuine spiritual growth than fixating on a number? If your answer is yes, or even if it's maybe, you're already stepping into a new perspective. If your answer is a firm no, keep reading anyway. Sometimes we need to challenge ourselves repeatedly before the deeper message clicks. Final affirmation: my life is fluid, not fixed by a date. If that hits home, pin it in the comments or on your personal feed. Own your new perspective and let it anchor you the next time someone claims your fate was written before you could even speak. Think about it. Do you really want to hand over that much power to the calendar? But let's not pretend this transformation will be smooth sailing. One thing I'll leave you with is the question of what happens when you start applying this same skeptical lens to other aspects of your life, like relationships, career paths, or bigger existential questions about why we're here at all. If you notice that you're unraveling more threads of your worldview, don't be alarmed. This is the nature of genuine inquiry. Once you tug at one loose end of the tapestry, you often discover new corners that need reweaving. Comment, like, subscribe, and don't forget, once you finish here, check out my next video. They lied about your birth month and spirit animal. Here's the truth. To see how these myths play out in yet another dimension of our lives, you might be stunned by just how many layers there are to peel back. Here's another tantalizing question. What if the personality traits we often associate with certain animals or certain months are really just stereotypes that limit our growth? Could it be that embracing these stereotypes ironically stifles the qualities within us that don't fit the mold? So let me leave you with one final nudge. The life you lead is an ever-evolving story, and you hold the pen. No birth date, no birth month, no contrived spirit animal label can override the power of choice that thrives in every breath you take. If you feel that contradiction between old beliefs and new freedom, good. That's the cognitive dissonance that shakes us awake, the friction that births real insight. Welcome to the journey of true self-discovery. No cosmic shortcuts required. I'll see you in the comments and, hopefully, at the end screen of this video where the next myth about birth months and spirit animals is waiting to be unraveled. Let's keep the momentum going together. Recap and invitation to reflect your birth date is not your destiny. Realizing this might initially feel unsettling, but it also opens a door to more personal agency than you've ever had. We're all susceptible to psychological shortcuts. Confirmation bias, the Barnum effect, and the illusion of causality can make us see patterns where none truly exist. Ancient wisdom rarely focuses on numbers. Core Buddhist or spiritual teachings center on mindset, compassion, and mindfulness. Actions in the here and now, not birth date codes. Actionable insight. Before you accept any cosmic claim, test it. Are there alternative explanations? Does it align with broader evidence? Look ahead. Birth months and spirit animals. A whole new frontier of myth-busting awaits. Don't miss the next video. They lied about your birth month and spirit animal. Here's the truth. to see how easily we can mistake cultural or environmental factors for cosmic destiny. Now, if anything you've read or heard here has stirred questions, doubts, or even excitement, let it fuel your next steps. Whether those steps involve a late-night journal entry, a spirited conversation with a friend, or diving deeper into real spiritual texts, make it count. Growth is rarely comfortable, but always worth it. Take a breath. Feel the subtle difference in your mindset now compared to when you started. Perhaps you feel more grounded, or maybe you feel a flicker of uncertainty. Both are signs you're alive, questioning, and evolving. That's the sweet spot of transformation. So, are you ready? Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Drop a comment sharing your biggest aha moment or your fiercest objection. Both are welcome. Give this video a like if you're excited to keep exploring, and most importantly, watch the next video about birth months and spirit animals, because the journey has just begun, and trust me, you don't want to miss what we uncover next. They lied about your birth month spirit animal. Here's the real truth. Have you ever been told you have a secret spirit animal based purely on the month you were born? January, wolf; February, owl; March, dolphin, and so on. Well, buckle up, because we're about to unravel a massive misconception that might have been limiting your growth. In this in-depth exploration, yes, it's going to be thorough, we'll reveal how these month-based assignments lack real Buddhist or cultural grounding, how they prey on our desire to feel special, and most importantly, how you can reclaim your spiritual autonomy and personal evolution, free from the constraints of any arbitrary label. By the time we're done, you'll be equipped with new affirmations, deeper insights, and concrete strategies for forging your own path, unshackled from any single identity. Ready? Let's dive straight into it. You've been told you have a secret spirit animal based on the month you were born. January, you must be a wolf; October, a raven; December, something else entirely. The real question is, have they been lying to you all along? I'm not asking you to dismiss the concept of spirit animals altogether, far from it. But what if tying your entire identity to a single label chosen arbitrarily by your month of birth is not only misleading, but might also be detrimental to your personal growth? And what if there's something bigger and more empowering out there waiting for you beyond these calendar-based boxes? This video is going to debunk, dissect, and thoroughly deconstruct the claim that Buddhist wisdom or some cosmic force has assigned your soul to a single creature determined by your birth month. The surprising truth? This notion is filled with holes and half-truths, and we're going to show you exactly why. But guess what? By the end of this deep dive, you'll be armed with affirmations, mantras, and new insights to reclaim your spiritual autonomy, and to say, with confidence, I shape my destiny and choose the qualities I want to embody, not the ones dictated by an arbitrary date. Ready to question everything you thought you knew? Buckle up. Because if you've been told that your entire identity or spiritual journey hinges on your birth month animal, then today we're flipping that script on its head. Let's dive in. So you may be wondering, why do so many of us cling to the idea of an animal assigned to our birth month? Isn't it exciting to imagine a mystical blueprint that spells out who we are? Absolutely. We humans love a good story that gives our lives structure and makes us feel special. We crave patterns and want to believe we're part of a grand cosmic design. But what if that very craving can be manipulated by people who package simplified spiritual tidbits for quick online consumption? If you've ever thought, I'm a wolf because I'm born in January, so I'm strong and protective, you might, ironically, be limiting your full range of potential traits and growth. We cling to birth month myths because they're an easy fix. They deliver an instant sense of belonging and identity. I'm an owl, so that explains why I'm introspective. We get a dopamine rush when something external confirms who we think we are. But real self-knowledge is a lifelong quest, not something determined by a 31-day bracket. Today, we're going to wrestle with that. I invite you to lean into the possibility that you're far more complex than any single label allows. Embrace a moment of discomfort, cognitive dissonance, as you realize you might have oversimplified your identity. It may feel unsettling, but stay with me because at the other end of that discomfort lies far greater freedom. If this is already challenging your assumptions, or if you're just intrigued, hit the like button right now. And if you're new here, subscribe and ring that notification bell. Don't be shy. Drop a comment too. Let me know. Did you previously believe that your birth month automatically assigned you a spirit animal? Or have you always been skeptical? Let's build a community that's not afraid to challenge popular beliefs and dig deeper. Because folks, that's what spiritual growth is about. Confronting illusions so we can discover truth in all its complexity. Let's lay out the claim we're tackling head on. You might have seen it from a popular channel or a viral post, but it goes something like this. January, wolf, loyal, strong, protective. February, owl, wise, contemplative, intuitive. March, dolphin, joyful, empathetic, socially adept. April, hawk, visionary, determined, leadership qualities. May, horse, freedom, power, vitality. June, deer, gentleness, intuition, sensitivity. July, crab, protection, resilience, emotional strength. August, lion, courage, power, leadership. September, owl, again, wisdom, discernment, mystery. October, raven, transformation, intelligence, mystery. November, serpent, renewal, hidden wisdom, transformation. December, doe, gentleness, free spirit, serenity. This pitch is typically delivered with an aura of deep authority like, "This is Buddhist wisdom," or "These animals have guided souls for centuries." Some presenters even sprinkle in references to ancient texts without citing specifics. And boy, do they often tack on a call to action. Type, "I accept the power of my spirit animal," in the comments. There's no denying the feel-good factor here. People want to see themselves as wise owls or powerful lions. It's a neat trick to hold an audience's interest too. Each monthly group gets a mini ego boost. But does that make it legit? Let's keep digging. How does a myth like this hook so many people so fast? One word, cognitive dissonance. Ironically, it's the same psychological principle that can keep people from letting go of the myth. When we hear something that resonates with our self-image, "I'm strong, I'm wise," our brains get a little spike of pleasure. We want to hold on to it. Then along comes a video like this one saying, "Wait, that's not entirely accurate." Instantly, we feel a pang of discomfort. Which side do we believe? If we double down on the comfortable lie, we get immediate relief. If we choose to investigate, we experience tension. But that tension, if we write it out, can lead to deeper truth. Right now, I'm inviting you to hold on to that tension a bit longer. Ask yourself, could it be that I latched onto the wolf or the dolphin explanation just because it felt good? That's not a moral failing, it's human. We love confirmation that we're special. The question is, do we want comfort or do we want authenticity? If you stick around, I'll show you how the real authenticity offers more than any simplified monthly assignment ever could. Let's anchor some fresh thought patterns right now. I'm going to offer 3 quick mantras. Consider writing them in the comments to solidify your commitment to growth. I am more than a single label or myth. My spirit is vast. I explore my nature continuously instead of boxing it into one birthday story. I choose beliefs that expand my potential, not restrict it. Breathe in, breathe out, and let those settle. The more you affirm you're not limited by a simplistic classification, the more you free yourself to discover the fullness of who you truly are. Now let's dismantle the notion that mainstream Buddhist teachings revolve around birth month spirit animals. Buddhism is a vast tapestry woven over centuries across different cultures. Theravada in Southeast Asia, Mahayana in East Asia, Vajrayana in Tibet, and beyond, plus all sorts of localized folk practices. While it's true that certain cultures influenced by Buddhism use animal symbolism, to say there's a standardized Buddhist system that says if you're born in April, your spirit animal is the hawk is an oversimplification at best. Where do animals appear in Buddhism? The Jataka tales, stories of the Buddha's previous lives. He appears as various animals, a monkey, a deer, a rabbit, in moral fables. Tibetan Buddhism incorporates local Bon traditions, including astrological charts with animals, akin to the Chinese zodiac. But that's typically by birth year, not birth month. Symbolic creatures. The lion is a symbol of the Buddha's regal nature in many texts. The elephant can symbolize mental fortitude or unwavering strength. None of this mainstream tradition says, because you were born in July, you must be a crab. Your entire life purpose is tied to that trait. Frankly, if that was the crux of Buddhism, we'd find it in core texts or widely taught doctrines. Yet it's nowhere to be found. It's more likely an online invention blending bits of pop astrology, bits of Buddhist-flavored motifs, and a dash of marketing flair to keep you watching. When these so-called experts say, according to Buddhist wisdom, but never cite a source, that's a huge red flag. If you press them for an actual scriptural reference or even an established lineage's teaching, they can't produce it. But here's something more important. Real Buddhist wisdom is less about what animal you identify with and more about the nature of suffering, the causes of suffering, and the way to transcend it via compassion, mindfulness, and ethical action. That's a world away from painting each month with a different creature trait. This is not to say you can't glean something valuable from an animal symbol. Humans have done that since the dawn of culture. We read ourselves in the world around us. We look at the majestic flight of an eagle and see freedom. We see a cat's poise and see calm independence, etc. That's normal. Where it goes off the rails is the dogmatic claim that your essence is locked to one specific animal because of your birth month. That implies your spiritual growth is predetermined. That's the fundamental difference between inspiration and limitation. Spirit animals, as a concept, come from many indigenous spiritual traditions around the globe. Native American cultures, for example, have clan totems and personal guides, each with deep ancestral meaning. It's often a profound, communal, and personal affair, discovered through ceremonial rites, visions, or life experiences. The idea of appropriation creeps in when online channels combine bits and pieces from various cultures, some references to shamanic practices, some from East Asian zodiacs, some from New Age spirituality, and present them as a universal truth. In many authentic traditions, your relationship with an animal spirit is fluid, personal, and dynamic. Not a one-size-fits-all label slapped on you because you happen to be a March baby. So if you truly respect the heritage of spirit animal traditions, you're better off exploring them through legitimate cultural teachings or personal spiritual experiences. In many Native American traditions, for instance, it might take years or a lifetime to truly know your totem or your main animal guide, and it may not correspond to your birth date at all. We must also acknowledge the difference between a beloved spiritual or cultural practice and an internet age twist that tries to jam an entire personality into a single monthly category. This video is not about throwing out spirit animals altogether. It's about throwing out the premise that your birth month alone dictates which spirit animal is yours. When you realize how contrived that premise is, your mind opens to richer, more individualized ways of connecting with nature, your ancestors, or deeper archetypal energies, on your own terms, not some 12-slice chart. Now, if you've ever had a genuine spiritual or cultural encounter with an animal guide, whether in a vision quest or a significant dream, drop a comment below sharing your story. We'd love to hear about a real heartfelt connection, not just a YouTube label. Also, if this resonates with you or if you're curious, hit share and pass this video along to a friend who's on the fence. The more we talk openly about these myths, the closer we get to a broader understanding of spirituality that respects genuine cultural roots while giving us freedom to explore. Thanks for your engagement. Your voice matters. It's crucial to differentiate between something like astrology, which, regardless of your personal stance, is at least a structured system with thousands of years of cultural traction, and a random online chart that lumps every person born in March under Dolphin. In many astrological traditions, say Vedic or Western, your birth chart is an intricate map of the sky the moment you were born, factoring in place, time, planetary alignments, and so on. Sure, it's still up for debate scientifically, but it's far more complex than 12 animals, 12 months. So when we see transcript saying spirit animal the number 1, wolf for January, number 2, owl for February, but no real basis in cosmic or cultural data, we realize it's basic pseudo-astrology. It thrives on the same desire that real astrology does, self-discovery, but with none of the depth or historical tradition. Real self-knowledge, by contrast, requires effort. You do the introspective work, read widely, meditate, reflect on your experiences, and accept that you're a complex being in constant evolution. That's the polar opposite of a formula that says you're a hawk, and that's the end of the story. By the way, if you do like astrology or other systems of divination, that's your choice. Just know there's a spectrum from well-established traditions to oversimplified internet content. Birth month spirit animals usually fall on the far oversimplified side. Don't let that overshadow the richer, deeper possibilities of spirituality. Let's stir the pot again with some fresh, contrary affirmations designed to help you break free from any lingering sense that you must be a certain creature simply because of your birth date. I am a tapestry of influences, not a single thread decided by the calendar. I empower myself through ongoing learning, not inherited myths. I welcome the complexity of my identity and celebrate its evolution daily. If these ring true for you, type them below. Let's spread a new wave of personal sovereignty. Each affirmation is a reminder that your potential is limitless. Now, let's tackle the specifics. Wolf for January. The claims that January births have unwavering loyalty and strong leadership akin to a wolf pack. But guess what? Many people born in January don't resonate with the idea of being a wolf. Some prefer quiet, solitary introspection, or they identify more with a free-spirited cat. Also, we have loyal, pack-oriented folks born in every single month of the year. Do you see how it's a broad generalization? Owl for February. Painted as wise, intuitive, able to see in the dark. If that's you, fantastic. But no month has the monopoly on wisdom. We can find wise souls in every corner of the calendar. Again, the month-based assignment tries to funnel a trait to a specific group without real justification. Dolphin for March. Happy, playful, empathetic. Great qualities, right? But aren't there cheerful, buoyant folks born in September, December, or June? Conversely, some folks born in March might be more subdued, introverted, or prefer serious topics. Hawk for April. Vision and leadership, an echo of the wolf leadership trait, ironically, might say, people born in April have sharp insight and direction. Meanwhile, you and I both know plenty of April birthdays who aren't particularly hawk-like. Horse for May symbolizes freedom and vitality, so nobody else craves freedom or bursts with vitality outside May. People born in May can be calm homebodies too. Deer for June, known for gentleness and intuition, so that's the only month that fosters high empathy? Hardly. Crab for July. They say it's protective, resilient. Well, you might relate to that if you're a July birthday. But guess what? So might a Taurus in late April or an Aquarius in February. Lion for August. Courage, leadership, power. These qualities might be reminiscent of a popular zodiac sign for that month, Leo in Western astrology. But again, not everyone in August has this trait, and plenty of non-August folks are lion-hearted. Owl for September ironically recycles the owl concept for both February and September in some transcripts, talking about wisdom or discernment. Which month is the true owl then? Raven for October, symbolizing transformation and mystery. Awesome! But do only October babies transform? We see transformation in all birth months, especially if you measure personal development, spiritual awakening, big life changes, and more. Serpent for November. They claim transformation, renewal, hidden wisdom, but do those attributes vanish if you're a January or June baby? Of course not. Doe for December. Gentle, free-spirited, calm under pressure, fine. But we can probably find that trait in folks year-round. Clearly, you can be protective like a wolf, wise like an owl, or free-spirited like a horse regardless of when you popped out of the womb. If you connect deeply with one of these creatures, wonderful. But there's no cosmic law restricting you from embodying or admiring another if it resonates. By showing how these descriptors could apply to literally any birth month, we underscore that they're basically universal human qualities. You can see how this entire monthly breakdown is a neat parlor trick. It uses vague descriptors that flatter or inspire, making viewers think, yes, that's so me. Meanwhile, it's likely so broad it could fit thousands or millions of people who are not in that month. And let's remember, they tried to pass this off as near doctrinal, but they can't provide actual references to Buddhist sources. They can't, because those sources, in the mainstream sense, don't exist. This is your invitation to break free from a contrived assignment. If you love wolves or dolphins, fine. Adopt them because they resonate with your life story or personal sense of connection, not because of a birth date. So now that we've poked big holes in the month animal assignments, you might be thinking, okay, so what's next? Where does that leave me on my spiritual journey? Great question. Don't move a muscle, because soon I'll share a direct, empowering alternative to leaning on birth month designations. I'll also reveal how you can harness genuine self-discovery methods, some borrowed from real Buddhist principles, others from universal spiritual truths that don't rely on cookie-cutter boxes. We'll also talk about how marketing psychology thrives on these easy-breezy monthly gimmicks and how to immunize yourself from future misinformation. Because if you're not aware, you can keep getting pulled in by the same old blueprint. Sound good? Then keep watching. We're just getting warmed up. We often hear words like transformation, mystery, higher wisdom, or deep intuition, sprinkled liberally through these 12-month narratives. So how do you know when those buzzwords are being used in a manipulative or misleading way? Vague language. If a channel says you're full of cosmic power or you have hidden wisdom, but never grounds it in any practical teaching or real tradition, that's a clue. Of course, we all have some inner strength or deeper capacity, but a blanket statement that lumps everyone in a 31-day bracket is suspicious. Appeal to authority. They'll say, Buddhist masters teach, or ancient mystics believed, but never name the source or the text. True spiritual traditions do have lineages, texts, teachers, and communities that can be cited. Vague references are typically red flags. Rapid-fire affirmations that might say, I accept my spirit animal in the comments to cement your spiritual transformation. Affirmations can be wonderful tools, but when used in a manipulative script, they're often there to cause groupthink, not real growth. Over-focus on ego boosts. When you see repeated praise like, you are special, you're a strong wolf, or a wise owl, it's easy on the ears, but spiritual traditions that value humility, compassion, and self-inquiry rarely revolve around constant flattery. Conflation of terms. Buddhism, as we said earlier, focuses on the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, the concept of impermanence, and compassion. None of those revolve around, you're a horse if you're born in May, and that's your spiritual identity, period. So, once you recognize these patterns, you can't unsee them. And that's good. That means you're immunizing yourself from future manipulative tactics. Because guess what? This isn't the first nor the last time a flashy claim will pop up online. Real, genuine spiritual exploration usually involves some discomfort, challenging your assumptions, reflecting on your shadow side, acknowledging you don't have all the answers, maybe even rethinking your priorities or behaviors. That's not as neat or easily packaged as Hawk for April done, so we get this watered-down version that's easier to swallow and share. Let's be honest, we all like hearing flattering or inspirational attributes, but if you're looking for lasting change or self-discovery, you'll eventually crave substance over flash. You want the unvarnished truth, even if it's not as pretty at first glance. If that's you, you're in the right place. And if you're thinking, but I like identifying with a lion, that's fine. I'm not telling you to ditch the lion if it genuinely resonates with your soul. The difference is you choose it because it speaks to your life and experiences, not because a script told you that's who you must be due to your month. Think about it this way. The world is full of meaningful archetypes and energies. Lions, foxes, dragons, phoenixes, swans, whales, eagles, you name it. You're allowed to connect with more than one in your lifetime, or even more than one at once. You might feel a strong kinship with dolphins in your teenage years because they represent playfulness and community, then later feel drawn to owls for their wisdom and solitude. That's authentic spiritual exploration. The pop myth approach tries to keep you in a single lane your entire life. That's why it's so important to remain vigilant and, yes, a little bit skeptical when someone claims you're destined to be only one thing forever. That's not how real human evolution works. So let's do ourselves a favor. Next time we see a video or post listing 12 animals, 12 months with shallow descriptions, we pause, take a breath, and ask, where's the real substance here? What evidence do they cite? Is there an actual lineage behind this? Or is it just repackaged flattery? By doing so, you're not being a cynic. You're practicing discernment, a quality prized in many spiritual traditions, including actual Buddhism. You're stepping into your responsibility to question and test claims before adopting them into your worldview. That's how you keep your spiritual path authentic, open, and evolving. Are you seeing some of these buzzwords out there? Let's get the conversation rolling. Drop a comment with what you've noticed in other spiritual videos. Maybe you've spotted the same vague references or unsubstantiated claims. Challenge me too. If there's a real source for these birth month animals, I'm happy to see it. I've looked and haven't found it, but if you have something, share a link or citation. Let's crowdsource the truth, and if you're feeling a surge of clarity right now, consider sharing this video to your social feeds. That's how we grow a community of folks who want depth, authenticity, and the joy of real spiritual growth. No more cheap illusions. Let's shift gears and see why these myths spread so quickly. This is where marketing psychology meets spiritual longing. Emotional engagement. They often begin by telling you something shocking or life-changing. Immediately, you're in a heightened emotional state. Then they offer you a solution. Your birth month spirit animal. Bingo! Flattery. Each month is described in flattering, feel-good ways. January, strong wolf. April, visionary hawk. August, mighty lion. Who doesn't want to identify with that? Group belonging. They'll say, comment your birth month so we know which tribe you're in. This fosters an in-group dynamic. Humans naturally crave belonging. Simple shareability. A 12-slice list is easy to share. People can quickly compare. Oh, I'm a dolphin. My friend is a deer. Minimal reading or deep thought required. Perceived authority. Phrases like, according to Buddhist masters, or ancient wisdom says, lend false credibility. The combination is potent. People love feeling part of something special, being praised, and receiving immediate meaning. Add a dash of exotic spiritual references, and you have a viral formula. This formula is repeated across the internet for countless topics. Zodiac signs for success, which crystal is meant for your birth date, your karmic pattern based on your month. Not all of them are inherently bad, but they can lead us astray if we treat them as absolute truth. So how do you protect yourself? Pause and reflect. Ask, does this claim apply to almost everyone? Is it too broad or too flattering? Demand sources. If they invoke a major religion or historical tradition, see if they cite actual teachings, texts, or teachers. Seek depth. True spiritual or psychological insights often take more than a quick paragraph. They require nuance, context, discussion of pros and cons. These viral tactics are not going away. In fact, they'll probably get more sophisticated. But once you know the playbook, you're less likely to be fooled. Instead, you can enjoy them for what they might be at best, interesting or entertaining tidbits. At worst, you can spot them as manipulative fluff. If you've stuck with me this far, chances are you're serious about wanting real knowledge, not just a bedtime story. Congratulations! That is the spirit of genuine spiritual development. Curiosity plus discernment is the key that unlocks new horizons. Next up, we'll talk about how to replace these illusions with a tangible, personal spiritual practice that you design based on your experiences and reflections. But first, let's cement our mindset with a few more liberating statements. I've got 3 more power statements for you. Ready? I will not mistake flattery for truth. I remain open yet discerning. I am capable of multiple transformations. No single month or symbol can contain me. I trust my authentic experiences over viral catchphrases. Write them down, say them out loud, or type them in the comments. Let's push back against oversimplified spirituality and step into a more honest relationship with ourselves. Now let's talk solutions. After all, it's one thing to debunk a myth, but it's more powerful to offer a constructive, alternative approach to personal or spiritual growth. A. Self-inquiry and reflection. Instead of adopting a set of traits from a video, carve out daily or weekly reflection time. Journal your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions to life events. Over weeks or months, look for patterns. Maybe you consistently show loyalty, or you often find yourself leading groups. Maybe you see a desire for freedom that leads you to explore different careers. These are your real traits, not a pre-labeled set. B. Embrace archetypal imagery on your own terms. Love the concept of spirit animals? Great. Instead of letting your birth month decide, pick an animal you feel drawn to. Is it a hawk? Why? Is it a wolf? A cat? A turtle? Investigate the symbolism. Hawks symbolize vision and independence. Wolves symbolize loyalty and pack dynamics. Cats might symbolize curiosity or subtle power. Turtles can represent longevity and patience. If you connect with multiple animals, so be it. Allow them to be an inspiration for your growth, not a limiting identity. Consider studying real traditions or philosophies. If Buddhism intrigues you, consider reading actual Buddhist texts or listening to teachers recognized in a lineage. Explore the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, or look into other wisdom traditions, be it Sufism, Taoism, Christian mysticism, or indigenous spiritualities from the source. See what resonates with you. A robust spiritual path usually involves consistent practice, such as mindfulness, prayer, or compassion exercises, not just memorizing an assigned label. D. Mindfulness and meditation. Practicing mindfulness, sitting quietly and observing your breath, your sensations, your thoughts, can reveal more about your true nature than any external chart. Over time, you become intimately aware of how your mind reacts to stress, how emotions rise and fall, what triggers happiness, or what fosters compassion. That's real insight. E. Seek community or mentors. If you want guidance, look for communities that prioritize open dialogue and self-exploration. If everyone in a group is just regurgitating monthly assignments, that might be a sign you need a more serious or more open-minded circle. Mentors, either spiritual or otherwise, can provide personal feedback that a generalized label never could. F. Track your evolution. Keep a log of your personal growth goals. Notice which qualities you're developing. Over time, you might see how certain animals or symbols change in relevance. Maybe in early adulthood, you felt a kinship with a flamboyant, creative archetype, like a peacock or phoenix. Later, you might shift to something grounded and stable, like a tree or mountain if we even go beyond animals. That's the beauty of not being tethered to a single identity. G. Healthy skepticism, not cynicism, but skepticism. Questioning what you see online, especially grand spiritual claims, with no references protects you from adopting illusions. Train yourself to ask, is there a lineage or credible source behind this? Does it truly resonate with my experience, or am I forcing it to fit? With these steps, your path becomes an exciting journey tailored to you, nuanced, dynamic, sometimes messy, but always authentic. You're free to gather archetypes, traditions, mantras, and symbols that truly speak to your heart, forging an ever-changing mosaic of who you are. Compare that with the single label, Crab for July. Feels quite limited, doesn't it? Don't let a list on the internet define you when there's a big, wonderful universe waiting for your exploration. Think about how kids are free to dream. They want to be astronauts, then zoologists, then dancers, then explorers. They pick up new fascinations constantly. Over time, they discover the intersection of passion, skill, and opportunity that leads them to a more stable path, often after many experiments. That sense of wonder and trial is crucial for adults too. So if you, at any point, latched onto the birth month spirit animal idea, that's okay. It might have been a stepping stone, something that sparked your interest in introspection. But now, you can set aside that training wheel. You can say, that was interesting, but it's time to explore deeper waters. If you still like the imagery, wonderful. Keep it. Just know it's not locked to your birth month. It's a conscious choice. You admire wolves or hawks or serpents because they speak to your current journey. Over time, you might switch or add new ones. That's the beauty of a living, breathing spiritual path. Meanwhile, if you love the competitor's style or vibe, that's also your choice. Just hold them to a higher standard. Politely ask, could you share exactly where in Buddhism these month-to-animal associations come from? They might deflect or say it's from an ancient source that they don't specify. Notice that. The ultimate takeaway? You are multifaceted, evolving, and complex. Attaching yourself to a single identity for life based on a single day or month can be stifling. Real growth is about questioning, exploring, reinventing, and being honest with yourself every step of the way. That's your alternate path. Curiosity-led, self-defined, tradition-informed, if you like, but always open to transformation. It's a path that fosters real spiritual depth, not just superficial affirmations. To some, this might sound harder. It is, but it's also infinitely more rewarding. And guess what? By forging your own path, you create a unique tapestry of meaning that resonates on a soul-deep level. No birth month label can compete with that. One of the more exciting aspects of stepping beyond a single label is that you realize you can access a wide range of qualities. Maybe you want to cultivate courage like a lion in certain areas, public speaking, forging new career paths, but you also want to embody the gentle empathy of a deer in your personal relationships. That's allowed. That's the advantage of not confining yourself to a single totem. Over time, you might see that this approach mirrors real personal development. We're all a blend of what we admire, what we practice, what's innate, and what we aspire to be. By picking multiple influences or letting your influences change over time, You create a synergy that's wholly unique. Some people might say, that's not spiritual tradition, that's do-it-yourself. But many modern spiritual teachers encourage a syncretic approach, carefully weaving teachings from different sources as long as it's done with respect and self-awareness. Meanwhile, they do the opposite. It lumps everyone in your birth month under a single heading. That might be great clickbait, but it's an impoverished approach to real growth. Keep asking yourself, who do I want to become? Rather than, who does some chart say I am? That question alone can open doors. And guess what? You might choose an entirely different symbolic system, like the tarot, I Ching, or personal mythologies of your own creation. The point is, you hold the steering wheel, not your birth date. If this resonates with you at all, do me a favor. Pause for a moment and reflect. Have you ever felt pigeonholed by a single identity? If so, drop a quick comment. Maybe a single sentence about how you broke free from it or how you're starting to question it. And if you haven't yet, that's okay. Share your doubts or questions. Let's have a real conversation. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. I'll be releasing more content on dismantling pop spiritual myths and exploring genuine, empowering alternatives. So hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. You might say, hey, wait, I'm a February baby and the owl description fits me to a T. How could that be fake? It's not necessarily fake that you have qualities that align with owls. Maybe you do. The question is, does that synergy arise because you're actually born in February and destined for owlish qualities? Or is it a coincidence you found a descriptor that resonates? Psychologists refer to this as the Barnum effect. We tend to find truth in statements that are broadly applicable but dressed up to look specific. If you read a horoscope that says you love deeply but also need personal space, you're creative yet sometimes doubt yourself, most of us nod along because that's part of the human experience. So if they say February owls, wise, intuitive, private, watchers of the night, that could easily resonate with a quiet, introspective March baby or October baby too. Another angle, maybe you do have a genuine spiritual relationship with the owl archetype. That's wonderful, and it's valid. You might even incorporate owls in your meditations or environment. But that's your personal journey. It's not universal law that everyone in February shares that path. Let's flip it. If you were told you're a lion for August, but you never resonated with that, you might feel broken or weird. Like, why don't I feel courageous? What's wrong with me? That's harmful. By debunking the concept of month-based spirit animals, we free people from that pressure. A final point, attributing your personal growth or traits to your birth month can sometimes lead to fatalism, where you don't bother to develop other qualities. If you think, I'm a crab, I must always be in a shell, protective, and that's just who I am, you might skip exploring outward adventures or risk-taking. That's the real downside, limiting your potential. So if you do feel an authentic connection with, say, owls, keep it. Just don't let it define your entire spiritual identity based on a month. And definitely don't assume it applies to everyone else who shares your birth date. So let's shift from debunking to building. How do you intentionally explore your personality, spirituality, or sense of self without relying on a neatly packaged monthly label? 1. Embrace contradictions. You can be both soft and strong. You can be a dreamer and a realist. Embrace the paradoxes. Real growth acknowledges that you're not one note. 2. Ongoing learning. Grab books on comparative religion, psychology, mythology. Engage in discussions with diverse people. Over time, you'll weave your own tapestry of beliefs and insights. 3. Creative expression. Sometimes writing a poem, painting, or making music reveals deeper layers of your identity than reading a bullet point list of traits. Creativity helps you explore the parts of you that don't fit tidy labels. 4. Therapy or coaching. If you're serious about introspection, consider therapy, counseling, or coaching. Working one-on-one with a professional, can bring clarity to your patterns, limiting beliefs, and hidden strengths in ways no general horoscope or spirit animal assignment ever could. 5. Celebrate evolution. Maybe you used to be more reclusive, owl-like, and now you're stepping into leadership, lion-like. This is natural. Applaud yourself when you transform. As you evolve, your chosen symbols might evolve too. 6. Connect with nature. If you love the idea of spirit animals, spend time in nature. Observe real animals. Watch how they behave, how they interact with the environment. Over time, you might feel a kinship that is organic and experiential rather than dictated by a calendar. 7. Question the material. If you watch a video or read an article claiming spiritual truths, be a healthy skeptic. Cross-check it. If it resonates, hold on to the piece that resonates. If it doesn't, let it go. You are allowed to disagree or deviate. This approach fosters a spirituality or worldview that is personal, evolving, and in tune with actual life experiences. That's the polar opposite of letting a single birth date chart define everything. It also aligns with the principle found in certain Buddhist teachings. Don't accept a teaching just because someone says it's from a revered source. Test it in your own experience. The Buddha famously said, paraphrased, "Do not believe just because it's in a scripture or taught by a teacher. Believe only what you have tested and found to be wholesome and beneficial in your own life." This principle can be applied to the entire birth month spirit animal craze. Have you tested it? Have you seen it transform your life or expand your consciousness? Or did it just give a fleeting sense of ego gratification? If the latter, maybe it's time to move on. Meanwhile, a practice like daily meditation, journaling, or mindful living might not give you an instant ego boost, but over time, you'll see authentic changes, less stress, more compassion, deeper insight. That's the difference between real spiritual growth and surface-level showmanship. One is slow, challenging, deeply rewarding. The other is quick, easy, and addictive, but rarely fosters lasting transformation. Now, some people fear letting go of these illusions because they worry their life will lose its magic or enchantment. Am I just going to be a boring skeptic who doesn't believe in anything? Not at all. When you let go of illusions, you make space for real wonder, the kind that doesn't vanish when tested. You might end up discovering new paths, real astrology, mythological studies, creative journaling, or indeed authentic connections with animal guides discovered through direct experience. The difference is, you're not swallowing a script, you're writing your own. Let that sink in. You're writing your own script. That can be scary if you're used to someone else handing you the lines. But trust me, the joy of seeing your personal tapestry of beliefs, experiences, and insights come together is worth the initial uncertainty. Time for another mantra break, our final round, designed to solidify this new mindset. I am the author of my own spiritual script, free to change and grow. Labels may guide me temporarily, but they do not define me permanently. I seek deeper truths, even if they challenge my comfort zone. Feel free to post your favorite in the comments or keep it in a personal journal. Each one is a step toward owning your path, unencumbered by oversimplified myths. We've journeyed through a lot in this video, from the viral myth that assigns each month a spirit animal to the deeper look at Buddhism, marketing tactics, and personal growth strategies. And we keep coming back to one big idea: you are not your birth month. Or rather, your birth month doesn't get to decide your spiritual essence. It's an arbitrary slice of the year, not a cosmic blueprint etched in stone. If you find meaning in a particular animal, let that be because you found it in your life, not because someone else assigned it to you. Remember, real spirituality can be messy, personal, and multi-layered. It's a tapestry, not a single thread. Simple 12-month approach might feel comforting at first, but ultimately, it risks boxing you in or funneling you into a group identity that doesn't capture your fullness. So stand tall in your complexity. Maybe you're a gentle warrior, a quiet visionary, a joyous introvert, or an empathetic leader. You might have an entire menagerie of guiding symbols or none at all. That's allowed, and it can change over time. Release yourself from the need for a tidy, prepackaged answer. Embrace a spirituality or personal philosophy that's open-ended, adaptive, and led by your direct encounters with life. Let's do a final reflection. In what ways have you grown beyond a single label? Think about it. Maybe you once believed you had to be a certain way. Now, you see how life experiences shape you differently. Or maybe you used to call yourself a certain spirit animal, but realized you resonate with a new symbol. Celebrate that shift. It's a sign of growth. At the end of the day, we're all explorers. The only difference is some choose to cling to easy illusions, while others embrace the path of deeper truth. If you're here, you're likely part of that second group. So thanks for joining me on this clarifying journey. If this video sparked an epiphany or even stirred some healthy doubt, I'd love to hear about it. Leave a comment below sharing your biggest takeaway. If you haven't already, hit subscribe for more content that isn't afraid to challenge the easy stories and dig into deeper realities. Turn on notifications so we can keep exploring real empowerment and introspective practice together. And lastly, if you know someone who's still out there chanting, "I'm a wolf because January says so," kindly share this video with them. They might thank you once they realize they're free to be anything they want, not just a wolf. Thank you so much for watching. Keep questioning, keep growing, and above all, remember, you are too vast to be contained by a single month or a single myth. Stay curious, my friends, and I'll see you in the next video. A little something extra. Before you go, there's an unexpected twist many people have asked about. You might have heard the claim that putting your name in salt water can mysteriously change your life. Yet, oddly enough, most who've tried it have found it does absolutely nothing. There are whispers that they have been circulating this idea for all the wrong reasons. Intrigued? You'll get the full scoop on that in They Lied. Put your name in salt water, and nothing happens. It's queued up at the end of this video. If you thought the birth month labels were questionable, just wait until you see how salt water fits into the picture. Don't miss it. Have you ever stumbled upon a claim that seems both incredibly simple and unbelievably powerful? One such notion suggests that if you scribble your name, place it in a mixture of salt and water, and wait patiently, your life might suddenly overflow with prosperity, solutions to all manner of problems, and an immediate spiritual awakening. It sounds intriguing and perhaps even attractive. After all, who wouldn't want an effortless method to dissolve obstacles or usher in abundance? Still, there's a pressing question. Where did this idea truly come from? And is there a valid reason to believe in it? Some individuals are quick to declare that this approach derives from centuries-old teachings or profound spiritual sources. Others remain skeptical. The tension between these two perspectives is precisely what makes this topic so fascinating and so important to explore thoroughly. In the following in-depth discussion, we'll examine whether this name in saltwater approach is indeed some hidden gem of deeper understanding or simply a modern-day twist on old superstitions. We'll look at reasons people find themselves captivated by it, the potential psychological factors at play, and the ways you can harness genuine methods of self-improvement without relying on an unproven process. This promises to be a journey that may challenge certain assumptions. Perhaps you've tried the practice yourself, maybe you're teetering on the edge of trying it, or maybe you're brand new to the concept. No matter where you stand, stick around. By the time we reach the end of this comprehensive exploration, you'll be equipped with insights that will help you forge a more grounded, fulfilling path toward growth, peace, and abundance. No salt bowl required. In many corners of the internet, you'll find references to a method involving a slip of paper, often with your name or a short, personal statement on it, immersed in salt water. It's sometimes claimed that this is an ancient practice or that it's based on particular philosophical traditions. According to enthusiasts, the mixture of salt and water acts as a conduit for transformation, purging one's negative energy and drawing in waves of positivity or success. To be fair, the concept of using salt in rituals is not brand new. Historically, salt has been revered for its purifying qualities, not just symbolically, but in everyday life. Before refrigeration, salt was crucial for preserving food. Culturally, certain communities have treated salt with respect, using it in blessings, wards, or ceremonies. As for water, it's often held as a universal symbol of renewal, flow, and life itself. When we combine these two elements in a spiritual context, it's not surprising that people see it as a potent combination. However, the idea of physically writing your name and dropping it into salt water for guaranteed cosmic blessings appears to be a far more modern invention. Indeed, you'll see references that suggest it's anchored in specific traditions, but actual historical or textual evidence is thin. In many recognized texts, whether from established spiritual lineages or widely accepted philosophical frameworks, the practice is never laid out in the simplistic form that's so often touted online. That's not to say some folks haven't tried it and reported changes in their lives, but we need to be cautious. Is it truly the salt water performing wonders? Or could there be other explanations, like the power of believing in something, the shift in mindset that compels you to take new actions, or a coincidence that lines up with your fresh sense of optimism? Before we jump into any grand conclusions, let's illuminate some of the broader themes that might be fueling this popular method. We'll look at the notion of illusions versus workable ideas, the difference between superstition and mindful practice, and how people interpret positive results from something intangible. To lend credibility to the name in saltwater approach, many promoters invoke grand references, phrases like ancient teachings, secret knowledge, or sacred wisdom. They may even claim it's part of a major philosophical path or that it's been handed down by revered sages. That alone might sound compelling, especially if you hear it while already longing for hope or a quick fix to life's challenges. Yet, when pressed for specifics, such as direct textual citations, references to recognized teachers within well-established traditions, or even historical accounts, these details often vanish. Instead, you'll find vague assurances that this is well known, everyone who tries it sees results, or that the universe rewards you for it. Such broad statements, however, never quite answer the question, who exactly has validated this practice? In reality, if you explore widely recognized sources from spiritual teachings, you might discover references to water ceremonies or the use of salt for purification. But these typically occur in structured rituals that involve the entire community, guided by trained practitioners or leaders. Rarely, if ever, do they take the form of write your name on a slip, dunk it in salt water, and watch the miracles roll in. So why might certain individuals attach the name of a revered spiritual tradition to this method if it doesn't have a clear historical basis? One possibility is that it's an easy way to offer the practice a veneer of legitimacy. Another is that it taps into a broader phenomenon. We love the idea that a quick, straightforward action could produce far-reaching effects. Tying it to a respected tradition might make the claim feel more plausible, even if it's not truly part of that tradition's recognized repertoire. This raises another point. Authenticity in spiritual or philosophical pursuits isn't about blind acceptance of a claim. Instead, it's about careful investigation, reflection, and, in many traditions, respectful dialogue with teachers or communities. So if you've ever felt uncertain about whether a method is real, you're not alone. Keeping a healthy sense of discernment is part of every meaningful journey. Many long-standing approaches to personal or spiritual development emphasize the importance of mindful techniques, activities that encourage self-reflection, gratitude, patience, and ethical living. For instance, well-documented philosophical traditions might encourage quiet contemplation, journaling, or the recitation of certain verses. The purpose is often to help the practitioner become more aware of their thoughts, their feelings, and their behaviors, rather than to promise immediate external changes like sudden bursts of wealth or unstoppable luck. Salt water can be used in some settings as a symbolic gesture, perhaps to represent cleansing from unhelpful patterns. But the genuine power frequently comes from your internal process, your willingness to be introspective, your commitment to changing old habits, and your resolve to treat yourself and others with kindness. In fact, that's the essence of many recognized teaching lineages. Methods that spur you to look inward, transform destructive mental patterns, cultivate wisdom, and approach others with compassion. Through that long-term process, external improvements can happen. People who shift their mindset often see opportunities they missed before. They become kinder, more proactive, or more grateful. All of that can indeed lead to wonderful changes in relationships, finances, and overall well-being. However, focusing purely on a bowl of salt water, as if it alone commands universal forces to favor you, risks oversimplifying a more profound and nuanced approach. By centering on what's inside, your perception, your choices, your sincerity, your transformations become sustainable and real, not dependent on a handful of crystals, a piece of paper, or a few grains of salt. If you've ever come across the claim that dropping your name in salt water can flip your life upside down in a good way, then please share your own experience in the comments. Maybe you tried it, or maybe you know someone who swears by it. Has it felt useful or confusing? Everyone's perspective is valuable. So let's get a conversation started. And while you're at it, go ahead and tap the like button if you're curious to discover fresh, more effective ways of approaching personal growth. By doing so, you're not only supporting this content, but also signaling that we, collectively, are open to deeper exploration instead of just chasing easy magical fixes. Here are some statements to remind yourself that true change often begins with your outlook, dedication, and self-awareness. If any of these ring true, feel free to write them down or say them out loud. My growth depends on my thoughtful actions and evolving perspective. I can explore new paths without grasping at simple, quick fixes. I trust my capacity to spark real transformation through mindful choices. By reinforcing these ideas, you keep your focus on genuine growth rather than placing hope in external objects or superficial rituals. It can be fascinating to observe why certain methods spread so far and wide. A mixture of curiosity, a desire for easy solutions, and repeated anecdotes on social media all converge to create a wave of excitement. But there's also more happening beneath the surface. The wish for immediate relief. Life can be stressful. Relationship issues, job uncertainty, or personal goals that feel out of reach. When someone offers an easy remedy that supposedly cleanses negativity or ushers in prosperity, it's appealing to see if it might just work. Confirmation by personal stories. If people post on forums or comment sections that I did the name in saltwater thing and magically got a bonus at work, others might interpret that as undeniable proof. In reality, people experience random positive events all the time. But if it happens shortly after a ritual, it's easy to link the two, even if there's no real causal connection. Desire for a sense of control. Feeling powerless in the face of life's unpredictability can be unsettling. Having a small, tangible ritual you can do at home might foster a comforting sense of control, even if the actual effect is minimal. Overestimation of rarity. Humans have a tendency to notice and remember uncommon or dramatic outcomes more than mundane ones. If one person in 100 does see something they label as miraculous, that's the story that spreads, overshadowing the quiet majority who tried the same technique and saw no discernible difference. These factors don't mean the people are naive. Rather, it highlights how strongly we yearn for any approach that might simplify or improve our lives. Let's systematically address what is usually promised by the name in saltwater approach. Salt water dissolves problems. Yes, salt water can clean surfaces, preserve food, and clear our nasal passages during certain treatments, but it doesn't have proven capabilities to eradicate intangible issues like financial stress, heartbreak, or spiritual emptiness. Symbolic representation might help you psychologically, but that's not the same as guaranteed external changes. Writing your name channels your identity. Many practices use the concept of writing names or statements. It can be powerful to see your personal goals or identity physically on paper. Still, the effectiveness typically arises from how that written intention influences your mindset, not from a supernatural property of the pen strokes themselves. The universe grants blessings after the ritual. This concept suggests a cosmic reward triggered by the simple act of dunking your name in a salt solution. While many traditions mention universal harmony or cosmic feedback, they typically emphasize consistent moral conduct, compassion, introspection, and perseverance, not a single quick step. This has an ancient heritage. As we noted, real references in well-documented sources are scarce. Ritualistic uses of salt or water exist in many places, but a direct write your name and wait for wonders approach is not widely supported in recognized histories of spiritual practice. Each of these claims can provide psychological or symbolic comfort. However, the actual catalyst for real transformations, like improved relationships, greater finances, or heightened well-being, is more often the consistent effort you invest in changing habits, attitudes, and decisions. If the breakdown above speaks to you, please add a comment about which of the key claims you find most intriguing or questionable. It's always interesting to see where folks draw the line between possibility and skepticism. Also, consider sharing this discussion with someone who might be intrigued by these ideas. They might be exploring methods for self-improvement, or they might have encountered the saltwater notion too. Spreading thoughtful, grounded perspectives ensures we all learn together. Instead of focusing on a single external gesture, many well-established teachings promote deeper approaches. Few ideas that have guided countless people across cultures and centuries. Self-reflection, journaling, or meditating daily can reveal patterns in your thinking and behavior. By identifying harmful habits like negative self-talk, impulsive spending, or procrastination, you can work systematically to improve. No bowl required. Community and service. Engaging in altruistic acts or community-driven projects can shift your perspective from self-absorption to a sense of connection. Feeling part of something bigger than yourself can nurture genuine positivity and improved mental health. Ethical living. Many spiritual traditions recommend behaviors like honesty, compassion, moderation, and generosity. It's not flashy or instant, but aligning your conduct with these virtues often yields a more harmonious and fulfilling life. Gradual habit formation, setting practical goals. From saving money to exercising or refining your interpersonal skills, fosters self-reliance and direct evidence of progress. While it may take more effort than a single ritual, the outcome is typically robust and lasting. By devoting your efforts to any or all of these areas, you stand a much better chance of creating long-term shifts in your reality. Let's pause to reaffirm some guiding perspectives. These are gentle reminders that you hold much of the power in your own personal growth. I cultivate lasting change by working on my thoughts, words, and actions each day. Small, consistent efforts often produce more profound outcomes than any single ceremony. I can embrace meaningful practices that fit my values rather than chasing superficial methods. Feel free to repeat them, note them down, or share them. The more often you reinforce these truths, the easier it becomes to stay anchored in productive, reality-based growth. When you dive into widely recognized spiritual or philosophical texts, you'll often find references to the transformation of mind and heart. Classic discussions revolve around topics like compassion, In many traditions, if you aspire to better health or a calmer environment, you direct your energy toward empathy for others, charitable actions, or mindful listening. Patience. You stay calm even when life's storms rage. You don't expect miracles overnight. You trust the slow but meaningful process of internal development. Mindful attention. Instead of drifting on autopilot, you become keenly aware of your environment, your emotional states, and how you respond to adversity. Through this awareness, you sidestep needless suffering or drama. Ethical decision-making. By choosing honesty, fairness, and kindness, you generate better relationships. Opportunities align more naturally with an ethical life as people trust and value your presence. Compare that to the idea of simply placing a piece of paper in salt water and waiting. While there may be a certain elegance to the idea, it does not typically encapsulate the depth and breadth found in these recognized teachings. If anything, legitimate traditions might see the saltwater method as a small metaphor, useful if it motivates you to reflect, but not a complete path in itself. Ritual by itself is not necessarily negative. Symbolic acts, like lighting a candle for peace, writing goals on paper, or placing an important object in a special container, can ground your intentions in the physical world. They can serve as reminders that you're committed to certain changes or decisions. The difference arises when a ritual is declared to be a guaranteed shortcut to significant external rewards, particularly if it's tied to grand claims that it's ancient or officially endorsed by major lineages, even though no verifiable sources back that up. A small ceremony can certainly help you focus, but transformation typically requires continuous reflection and willingness to adapt your life's trajectory. So if you love the idea of using salt or water in a personal tradition, that's fine. Just be mindful that the real power lies in your sincerity, determination, and capacity for steady self-improvement. Now's a good time to leave a quick remark if you've previously tried any ritual, big or small, that you hoped would bring about a shift in your life. What did you feel afterward? Did you notice real changes? Sharing your story might resonate with someone else watching. Also, if you're finding this breakdown helpful or thought-provoking, tap that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on more explorations of popular beliefs and practical alternatives. The journey to real understanding is ongoing, and we'll keep examining new claims in the future. Some individuals are convinced that writing their name on paper and letting it float in salt water triggered wonderful transformations. They might say, "My finances improved the very next week," or "I felt a wave of calm after I did it, so it must be real." It's vital to acknowledge the experiences of those who genuinely felt or observed changes. However, if you dig deeper, you might discover there were other factors at play. Did that person also make more proactive decisions at work? Did they reconnect with friends who offered them help or opened doors? Did the wave of calm stem from the belief that they'd found a solution, prompting them to stop worrying excessively? In many cases, focusing wholeheartedly on any ritual can shift your mindset. If you believe something is washing away your troubles, you might relax enough to see creative solutions or seize good opportunities. That's your mind doing the heavy lifting, not necessarily the mixture of salt and water. This is reminiscent of the placebo effect, where the real power is in your conviction and changed attitude, rather than in the sugar pill or saltwater jar in this case. To put it plainly, you can harness mindset shifts and enjoy the results. Just be cautious about attributing all those results to a single external procedure. Life is complex, and your sincere, ongoing efforts often matter more than you realize. Take a moment to ground yourself with a fresh set of reminders. I celebrate positive shifts without clinging to simplistic explanations. My own mindset and consistent actions create lasting results. When I trust my inner strength, I can see and grasp real opportunities. Repeating these helps you remain balanced, open to wonder and possibility, yet firmly rooted in self-agency. If your goal is to infuse your life with more joy, abundance, health, or peace, Consider these approaches, all of which have stood the test of time and evidence. Intentional practice. Develop a schedule for quiet reflection. Spend 10 to 15 minutes each day in a calm place, focusing on your breath or a gentle affirmation. Over time, this fosters mental clarity and stress reduction, both of which help you respond better to challenges. Community connection. Seek communities, online or offline, centered on personal growth, shared goals, or mutual support. A sense of belonging can be transformative. Human beings thrive when they feel heard, validated, and motivated by peers. Realistic action steps. If you want to tackle financial issues, learn about budgeting or new career skills. If you need better relationships, practice communication exercises or read about conflict resolution. Each tangible step builds genuine momentum. Reflect and adapt. Keep track of your progress. If something you try doesn't yield improvements, that's an opportunity to tweak your approach, not a reason to lose hope. The more flexible you remain, the more effectively you can discover strategies that fit your unique situation. This kind of holistic approach focuses on integrative well-being, mind, emotions, and behaviors, rather than leaning on a short ceremony or a single object to fix everything. Set a clear goal. Instead of saying, "I want more prosperity," define what that looks like. Maybe a more stable job, a certain income bracket, or a business venture. The more precise you are, the easier it becomes to chart a path. Identify daily actions. Break the goal down into smaller tasks. For instance, if your ambition is a more fulfilling career, you might revise your resume, network, or take a specialized course. Symbolic rituals might be fun or motivational, but actual progress usually requires systematic effort. Monitor and celebrate milestones. Keep a calendar or journal noting each small achievement. Celebrations can be as modest as treating yourself to an evening of relaxation or sharing your excitement with a friend. This fosters a sense of positivity and motivation. Stay open to adjustment. If something isn't working, try a different tactic. Authentic growth is rarely a straight line. It's more like an evolving journey with curves and loops. By accepting that from the outset, you won't be discouraged by a setback. This approach stands in stark contrast to set it and forget it magical routines. While the latter might offer short-lived excitement, real personal development is a continuous interplay of learning, acting, reflecting, and refining. Take a moment to post your best piece of advice for someone seeking a real breakthrough in life. Maybe it's a tip about finances, mental health, relationships, or any domain you care about. By pooling our wisdom, we build a well-rounded resource that can help countless others. If you haven't yet, this is also a wonderful time to tap the notification option. That way, you'll be promptly informed whenever we explore new topics or debunk fresh claims, so you can keep expanding your understanding and refining your perspective. A significant reason many people crave one-step rituals is that life feels relentlessly busy and complicated. Who has time to read entire philosophical texts or to attempt lengthy introspection? In that sense, it's understandable that a basic approach, like scrawling your name and placing it in salt water, would gain traction. It promises everything with minimal effort. But imagine if you poured that same energy into a consistent, thoughtful routine that helps you evolve day by day. Over months or years, that approach can lead to breakthroughs you didn't think possible at first. Genuine transformation isn't always flashy. It can be subtle, revealing itself through renewed self-confidence, deeper relationships, or a calmer approach to everyday dilemmas. You might also discover that once you let go of the idea that a single bowl of salt water can solve your problems, you feel a greater sense of empowerment. Instead of waiting for cosmic forces to rearrange your life, you'll step into your own capacity to design the life you want, one deliberate step at a time. That's not to say you have to discard every symbol or small practice you enjoy. Some find meaning in lighting incense while meditating or placing a crystal in their workspace as a prompt for calm. The difference is acknowledging these as aids to your mindset, not guaranteed universal commands. Let's reinforce a perspective of ongoing self-discovery. I recognize my own ability to grow moment by moment, choice by choice. Each day is a chance to align my actions with the future I desire. I appreciate small symbols only insofar as they enrich my determination and clarity. Take a breath. Let these ideas settle in. Sometimes a single sentence can be enough to spark a refreshed outlook for the entire day. We've covered a lot of ground in this conversation. The questionable basis of the name in saltwater concept, why individuals are drawn to such methods, the distinction between symbolic gestures and deeper spiritual or philosophical teachings, how real personal development usually arises from reflection, consistent effort, community support, and ethical orientation. Now that you've heard these perspectives, the choice is yours. Continue relying on a simplistic method, hoping it has hidden cosmic backing, or step into a more robust approach that acknowledges the complexity and the beauty of genuine transformation. By prioritizing daily introspection, ethical living, and purposeful actions, you place the power of change in your own hands. You become an active participant in the evolution of your life rather than a passive spectator waiting for salt water to deliver blessings on its own. That shift can be both liberating and exhilarating. There's a satisfaction in knowing you're shaping your reality in real time, guided by wisdom and intention. If you or someone you know is still intrigued by the claim of writing your name and letting it soak in salt water, consider sharing these insights. Point them to a broader range of strategies, like journaling, setting goals, reaching out to supportive communities, or cultivating a meditative practice. Those building blocks tend to hold up much more reliably when life's storms come your way. Yet there's also one more detail that might keep you wondering. People all over insist that waking up at 3 a.m. is some sort of special sign. Have you heard that one too? The next piece of our journey explores whether there's any truth to that late-night buzz. Brace yourself, it might be more revealing than you'd expect. If this exploration has stirred your curiosity, drop a note in the comments about which aspect resonated with you the most. Was it the psychological breakdown of why people believe in quick fixes, the spotlight on authentic methods for lasting change, or something else entirely? And if you haven't yet, this is a wonderful moment to subscribe and remain connected. A shared journey is often more fruitful, and it's in continuing conversations that we unlock fresh layers of understanding. Let's keep the dialogue alive, supporting one another in forging genuine progress rather than chasing illusions. Thank you for investing your time here. May your path ahead be guided by reflection, sincerity, and the quiet confidence that you can indeed shape your own story without needing to rely on a piece of paper and a bowl of salt water. Whenever you're ready for more insights, come on back. There's always another angle to explore, another empowering idea to discover, and another perspective to spark that inner transformation. Until we meet again, remember, real growth doesn't require complicated or secret formulas. It stems from the day-to-day process of aligning your heart, mind, and actions, an ever-evolving dance that you lead step by mindful step. And if you're curious about that middle-of-the-night phenomenon so many folks are talking about, be sure to check out the upcoming video. They lied, the truth about waking up at 3 a.m. You might be surprised at what you learn. Have you ever been jolted awake at precisely 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. and wondered if there's a bigger reason, something mysterious or even mystical, behind it? Perhaps you've heard that there's a special energy window at these times, or that waking up at certain hours is an omen, a sign, or a clue about your emotional, spiritual, or even physical state. In today's video, we're going to explore the claims surrounding late-night or early morning awakenings. Those moments when you sit up in bed, glance at the clock, and think, "Why am I awake now?" We'll sift through the buzz you may have encountered. Ideas about your soul being more open, your body detoxing, your mind communing with the divine, and dig into whether those ideas hold up. Expect to learn why certain people assert there's a separate meaning for 1 a.m. versus 2 a.m. versus 3 a.m. versus 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., how legitimate or questionable these claims might be from spiritual, cultural, and scientific viewpoints, how you can harness your own deeper self-reflection without feeling pressured to believe in one-size-fits-all explanation for nighttime awakenings. And yes, we'll also look at how it might feel comforting or reassuring to hold on to a neat explanation for why you're awake in the wee hours. But more importantly, we'll talk about how to keep your eyes wide open to the bigger picture, including emotional well-being, healthy lifestyle habits, and your personal spiritual growth. Above all, don't go anywhere, because by the end of this video, you might see these nighttime wake-ups in a completely different and possibly more empowering light than ever before. Throughout history, people have held deep fascination with the silent hours of the night, from midnight to dawn. Folklore in various cultures has labeled certain hours the witching hour, or the hour of the spirits, pointing to a supposed thinning of the veil between earthly life and the unseen realms. Maybe you've heard it called the hour of the gods, or the time where powers beyond are more accessible. Even in modern tech-driven societies, some still hint that exactly 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. is more spiritually charged than others. While it can be captivating to imagine cosmic secrets unfolding in the pitch-dark hush, it's also wise to take a step back and see whether these ideas rest on solid ground. Have you ever felt a little spooked or intrigued after waking up in the dead of night? Drop a comment below and share your story. Did you assume it was random, or did you search for a deeper meaning? Let's get a conversation going. Some online sources or spiritual teachers offer an hour-by-hour breakdown. If you pop awake at 1 a.m., it's apparently about unresolved conflict. If it's closer to 2 a.m., it might be about your body's detox or hidden emotions. If it's 3 a.m., it's labeled the special hour of something divine. If it's 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., you're on the cusp of a new beginning. It sounds neat and tidy, but ask yourself, is that how life truly works? Are our emotions, conflicts, or spiritual states so sharply divided by each hour of the clock? Real human experience tends to be more fluid. The reason many cling to these hour-specific interpretations is that it gives a sense of structure, a feeling that the cosmos is giving them a direct sign. Yet, we have to be careful not to read too much into a single phenomenon. Waking up might reflect everything from stress, thirst, a noise outside your window, or simply your body's normal circadian rhythms. None of this is to dismiss personal experiences. Maybe you truly have had moments at 3 a.m. that felt profound or awe-inspiring. Maybe you read scripture in those hours and felt a special closeness to the divine. That can be meaningful. The key is, meaning can arise from your personal connection and intention, not necessarily from an inflexible rule that 3:30 a.m. is always the cosmic gateway. I can welcome the mystery of nighttime while also recognizing that my well-being and deeper truths aren't confined to any single hour. Let's hold on to that thought. Up next, we'll look at how certain claims about the meaning behind waking at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or 4 a.m. may or may not align with actual evidence, spiritual, historical, or scientific. One popular idea out there is that if your eyes fling open at 1 a.m., it's a clue you're in mental conflict. Maybe you're harboring resentment or unsettled worries. Another version says that if you're up between 1 and 2 a.m., you must be ignoring emotional baggage. Could that be possible sometimes? Sure. But does it automatically apply every time? Possibly not. People often conflate correlation with causation. If you happen to wake at 1 a.m. on a stressful night, it doesn't necessarily prove that the hour itself is your spiritual or psychological alarm bell. It might simply mean you ate dinner too late, or your bedroom temperature is off, or your mind is racing for reasons that could occur at 11 p.m. or 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. Our bodies and brains aren't coded to say, "It's 1 a.m. exactly, time for regret to surface." Instead, various factors interact. Stress hormones. If your stress hormones, like cortisol, are peaking, it can yank you out of slumber at any time. Lifestyle factors. Late caffeine intake, heavy meals close to bedtime, or noisy environments can nudge you awake. Normal cyclical awakenings. Many people naturally cycle through lighter stages of sleep multiple times per night. If you're restless, your conscious mind might notice that shift. Let's say you do find yourself up at 1 a.m., feeling uneasy. Instead of instantly concluding it must be a cosmic sign about your unresolved fears, consider a balanced approach. Check physical comfort. Are you too hot or too cold? Is there a noise? Are you hungry? Relaxation technique, deep breathing, gentle stretching, or guided relaxation can calm your nervous system. Reflect intentionally. If you sense genuine emotional tension, it's never a bad time to pray or meditate if that resonates with you. You can say, "In this stillness, I'll examine my feelings. What's truly on my mind?" Affirmation, I am allowed to calmly explore my thoughts. If any conflict arises, I can seek clarity and peace at my own pace. If you've ever woken at 1 a.m. and decided to do something productive, journal, pray, read, leave a comment describing how you felt. Did it help? Did you go right back to sleep? Share below. Another widespread statement is that if you awake between 2 and 3 a.m., it ties to your physical health. Some say it's your liver or a different organ in distress. Others claim that negative energies or certain emotional states are at play. One concept references traditional Chinese medicine, which does map certain organs to certain times. However, it's essential to note that real practitioners within that framework rarely say if you're up specifically at 2 a.m., it always means you have a toxic liver. Instead, they'll do a thorough evaluation. Online bullet points can overly simplify. In some spiritual traditions, nighttime is a time for introspection. People might pray, seek healing, or cry out for help if they're ill or troubled. That can overlap with 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. purely by chance because that's when they happen to awaken. But others might experience the same emotional breakthroughs at 11 p.m. or 5 a.m. The point is, attributing an issue solely to an hour might overshadow the more nuanced reality of your overall health and life. For instance, if you frequently have insomnia, it could be due to anxiety, depression, an undiagnosed medical condition, side effects from medication, or simply poor sleep hygiene. That's worth exploring in a grounded way, rather than automatically concluding your body is trying to send you a coded message from 2 to 3 a.m. Still, if you do sense that your nighttime wake-ups are highlighting health concerns or emotional difficulties, listen to your inner signals. Maybe you can use that moment to utter a comforting prayer or recite a personal statement like, "I respect my body's signals and will seek real solutions, both spiritual and practical, for my well-being." You can chat with a trusted counselor, a physician, or a spiritual advisor to get a balanced perspective. Searching for help is far more effective than simply fixating on the idea that 2 a.m. is the red flag hour. Next up is the notion that 3 a.m. is the grand hour of something beyond. People sometimes claim it's the optimum time for prayer because it's a corridor to a higher realm, or that the spiritual world is most accessible at this exact time. Another viewpoint is that it's ironically the opposite hour of certain historical religious events, leading some to brand 3 a.m. as an hour of darker energies. Realistically, if you look across world religions and cultural histories, you'll find plenty of references to nighttime vigil or dawn prayer, but not a strict universal consensus that 3 a.m. alone is always the absolute apex. In many faith traditions, daybreak prayers are also revered. Others emphasize midnight vigils, so the 3 a.m. claim can be more of a modern popularization than an ancient universal truth. From a physiological standpoint, many people might be in a deeper REM cycle around 3 a.m., Waking from REM can cause vivid recollections of dreams or heightened emotional states. This might indeed make the moment feel special. Also, the body's temperature is often at its lowest in the early morning, which can stir light awakenings. So, if you get up at 3 a.m., feeling a wave of strong emotion, consider that your dreams or body rhythms might be behind it. However, if you find that a quick moment of reflection or prayer soothes you, that's wonderful. It doesn't necessarily prove that 3 a.m. belongs in a cosmic category all on its own. Rather, it shows that using any quiet moment to connect with your deeper self can be powerful. If you open your eyes, see 3 a.m. on the clock, and feel compelled to do something meaningful, here are some ideas. Gentle centering. Sit up, slow your breath, and let a sense of calm fill you. Brief meditation. You might focus on grateful thoughts or a short phrase, I am safe and I am calm. Spiritual practice. If you're devout, you might say a short prayer or reflect on a verse or affirmation that brings peace. Jot down dreams. If you recall them, keep a small notebook or your phone with screen dimmed near the bed to record them. Afterward, go back to rest if you can. If you notice, night after night, that 3 a.m. awakenings coincide with anxiety or physical discomfort, you might talk to a professional or examine your nightly routine. Have you or someone you know ever sworn that 3 a.m. is mystical? Leave a comment sharing what you believe or have experienced. Your stories might help someone else make sense of their own 3 a.m. wake-ups. Another recurring theme is that if you wake up around 4 or 5 a.m., it's supposedly an announcement of new beginnings, as if the universe is telling you, time for a rebirth. People sometimes link this to the symbolism of dawn in sacred texts, dawn representing hope, resurrection, or fresh potential. There's something poetic in that. The night recedes, the day is about to break. It can be a lovely metaphor for renewal. However, we should ask, does that metaphor absolutely require you to wake at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. to apply? Couldn't the same sense of renewal or spiritual reflection happen at 7 a.m. or 11 p.m. if you intentionally cultivate it? Some of the well-known benefits of early rising do exist. The world is quieter, you have fewer distractions, and you can set your intentions for the coming day. But if your schedule or body clock doesn't align with 4 a.m. wake-ups, that's okay too. You can carve out a quiet half hour at a time that fits your life. The real power typically comes from consistent reflection or prayer, not from the hour on the clock. If you do happen to be up before sunrise and want to harness that sense of new day, new me, feel free to do so. You might whisper or write, I embrace each new day as an opportunity for growth and transformation, no matter what time I wake. That kind of perspective can shift your mindset toward positivity, whether it's 4 a.m. or 9 a.m. Many spiritual traditions highlight nighttime or dawn prayers. For instance, certain references to biblical figures praying in the early hours do exist. That can be a powerful practice. However, these references aren't automatically prescribing that everyone must wake up at a particular hour to access the divine. They reflect an era when people's schedules aligned with sunrise and sunset far more closely than modern life. If you're a person of faith, you might indeed find a strong sense of spiritual resonance in the quiet of early morning. If you prefer a different time to connect with the divine or your deeper self, that's equally valid. You may come across narratives about historical figures, prophets, saints, sages who had visions in the night. It's understandable to be inspired by that, but it's also easy to overinterpret it. So if I wake at 3:30 a.m., I must be like that prophet. Real spiritual experiences are often more about the personal relationship you foster with your beliefs and values than about matching an hour precisely. If you find a nighttime routine that nourishes your soul, fantastic. The key is that your practice remains genuine and healthy, not forced by the clock alone. In some communities, people might gather for pre-dawn meditation or chanting. In others, late-night prayer is the norm. In yet others, folks find daytime spiritual gatherings more appropriate. The variety suggests that no single hour is universally mandated. This wide range of traditions shows that humans have found meaningful ways to connect at all sorts of times. Have you ever participated in a late night or early morning prayer or meditation group that felt transformative? Comment below. Tell us about the culture or tradition that resonated with you. A popular claim is that if you wake up mid-dream around 3 a.m., it must be a message. In reality, people tend to have multiple REM cycles throughout the night. Dreams can surface at different times. If you happen to remember your dream at 3 a.m., that's likely because you emerged from REM then, but you could just as easily recall a dream at 1 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. Dream interpretation can be fascinating. Some individuals, from biblical times to modern day, believe that the divine can indeed communicate through dreams. Others see dreams as purely psychological. Whichever viewpoint you hold, the emphasis is on how you process the dream and glean insights relevant to your life. My dreams may hold personal significance, but I remain open-minded about when, how, and why they arise. Keeping a dream journal can help you track patterns or themes over time without limiting yourself to the notion that a dream at 3 a.m. is automatically the ultimate spiritual message, while one at 1 a.m. is not. If certain imagery in your dream resonates deeply, you might reflect on it through prayer, meditation, or journaling. A licensed therapist or experienced spiritual counselor could help you unpack potent symbols. Often, clarity comes from ongoing self-work, not from a single night's dream or a single moment. Sometimes you'll see a claim that waking at certain hours is about hidden physical problems. Is it possible your body is nudging you about a health concern? Yes, but not necessarily pinned to one specific hour for everyone. If you frequently wake up drenched in sweat or short of breath, talk to a healthcare professional. Chronic insomnia or repeated awakenings can signal stress, sleep apnea, or other issues that deserve real attention. If worry or sadness often stirs you from sleep, consider it a sign you might benefit from support, friends, counseling, or healthy coping strategies. That's less about a clock-based rule and more about how stress hormones or anxious thoughts can strike at any time. If you're spiritually inclined, nighttime solitude can be comforting. Yet remember, the potency of your spiritual practice is more about sincerity and consistent devotion than the exact time. If you love rising early to pray, wonderful. If you prefer a quiet moment before bedtime at 10 p.m., that's valid too. If you spontaneously wake up at 2 a.m. and sense calm after praying for 5 minutes, that can be powerful. Let your genuine connection guide you more than a forced schedule. Have you found a personal nighttime or early morning routine that actually helps your mental health and spiritual wellness? Share your tips in the comments. You might inspire someone else who's struggling with restless nights. When you wake up unexpectedly, it doesn't have to be a grand sign or a meaningless fluke. Life is full of subtle influences. You can glean insights from the moment. Maybe your mind truly needs to process some concerns, or your body is prompting you to change a daily habit. Just be mindful not to let a single theory overshadow reality. If your nightly schedule is chaotic or overly stimulated, too many screens, too much caffeine, stress from late-night work, that might contribute to random awakenings. A supportive routine could include reduce screen time an hour before bed, gentle wind down, reading, journaling, or listening to soothing music, comfortable environment, adjusting temperature, lighting, and bedding. If you do awaken, keep your environment calm. Maybe you do a quick relaxation exercise instead of scrolling on your phone. Whether or not you believe in a direct spiritual dimension, many people find comfort in a brief positive statement or prayer if they suddenly awaken. For example, In this quiet hour, I release any burdens of the day and trust that rest will restore my mind and body. This can help anchor your thoughts so you don't spiral into worry about tomorrow or try to decode cosmic secrets in every flicker of your mind. So let's gather the threads of this discussion. 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. Some say it's about deeper conflict or repressed emotions. Reality? It might be, or you might just be dealing with normal awakenings due to your environment or stress. 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Some interpret it as a sign of physical or emotional imbalance. Possibly, but don't forget simpler explanations, or other times your body might signal similar concerns. 3 a.m. Often portrayed as the special hour. If you want to pray or reflect, then feel free. Just remember your connection to the divine, or your own subconscious, isn't limited to any single hour. 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., touted as new beginnings. Yes, dawn can symbolize a fresh start, but that's not restricted to 4 a.m. Everyone's daily cycle is different. Dreams. You can have meaningful dreams at any stage. Some wake-ups help you recall them. But that's more about REM sleep cycles. The ultimate message? If you find personal resonance in certain times of night, if something stirs in your heart, embrace that authentically. But don't feel bound to a rigid chart or set of instructions that insists you must interpret 3 a.m. awakenings in one narrow way. Real well-being involves acknowledging the complexity of body, mind, and spirit. Here's a final set of empowering statements you might incorporate into your nightly or morning routine. Feel free to adapt them to your beliefs. My soul is open to insight and peace in every hour, not just a select few. I allow myself to rest without overanalyzing each awakening. If I sense a message in the night, I will approach it with calm curiosity, knowing I have resources for support. I refuse to let fear or dogma rule my nights. I cultivate serenity and trust in my own process. Do these ideas resonate? Or do you feel you still connect with the notion that certain hours have absolute universal meaning? Share your view in the comments. Let's keep it respectful and curious. Everyone's perspective is valid, and we learn by hearing different takes. If you enjoyed this deep dive, click the like button. It tells the platform this topic matters to you. Also, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss more videos about spirituality, mind-body health, and practical wisdom. Thank you for spending this time exploring a topic that can be both intriguing and often misunderstood. If anything in this video stirred your curiosity or gave you a fresh viewpoint, let us know. Maybe you found reassurance that you're not doing it wrong if you don't subscribe to the idea that each hour in the night has a coded meaning. There's plenty more to unpack in our continuing conversations. The nuances of dream interpretation, the role of consistent daily spiritual practice, and how to find your personal approach to tapping into insight without confining yourself to rigid external rules. But before we part ways, there's another piece of so-called common knowledge that might be keeping you up at night, especially when it comes to finances, something many believe will automatically invite trouble if you store money in a certain spot. Perhaps you've been told to avoid it at all costs. But is that advice really true? There's a chance it isn't what you've been led to believe. You can discover the surprising twist in our next video, They Lied, Keeping Money Here Won't Attract Poverty, premiering right after this one. Sometimes what we've been told for ages is exactly the thing preventing peace of mind. In the end, whether you wake up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or never do it all, know that each of us has unique rhythms and unique ways to connect with deeper truths. Don't let any single formula overshadow your own experience and common sense. If you have friends who often mention being wide awake at these times, share this video with them. It might spark a meaningful dialogue or ease any worry they have. And now, as you prepare to step back into your day or settle down for the night, remember, you can find meaning in quiet moments at any hour. Your body and mind might just need gentle care more than a strict set of rules about night watch times. You have the power to shape your own interpretive lens, embracing what uplifts you, questioning what holds you back, and forging a path that resonates. Thanks for watching all the way through. Stay tuned for more explorations of spirituality, well-being, and the hidden corners of our daily routines. And remember, sometimes the greatest insights come when we aren't desperately searching for them. So rest well, trust yourself, and allow each new day or night to bring its own revelations. Till next time, take care and be kind to yourself. We'll see you in the next video, and don't forget to check out They Lied. Keeping money here won't attract poverty if you're ready to challenge even more assumptions. Have you ever heard the idea that keeping money in certain spots, like under your mattress, in a kitchen cupboard, or maybe near your electronics, could somehow block abundance or even attract poverty? Maybe you were told that the energy in your house is so delicate that placing a few bills in the wrong drawer will sabotage your entire financial future. Sounds dramatic, right? Today, we're going to explore a completely different perspective. Instead of living in fear about where we stash our cash, let's look at how real prosperity stems from thoughtful financial habits, positive mindsets, and consistent follow-through, not from agonizing over whether your basement or attic has bad energy. By the time we're done, you might just feel a huge weight lifted off your shoulders. Imagine the relief in realizing that your money can peacefully exist in many places without cursing your wallet or dooming you to financial trouble. If that resonates, stick around. We'll be taking a deep dive into why some folks believe certain locations are bad for money, the role that our environment actually plays in finances, how we can keep a healthy, positive, supportive mindset about money no matter where we store it, simple steps to cultivate real abundance through wise habits, and an open-hearted approach. Quick invitation. If you're curious about how to release yourself from superstitions and approach wealth with more freedom, tap that like button. Leave a comment sharing whether you've ever felt nervous about storing cash in a wrong place. Let's compare notes. Maybe you have your own experiences or some quirky story about money gone missing in a weird spot. We'll also explore how sometimes fear-based rules can ironically hamper your confidence and hamper your ability to manage money effectively. By understanding that genuine abundance is far more resilient than any random old wives' tale, you may step into a more relaxed, empowered relationship with finance. Sound good? Great, let's begin. First off, let's acknowledge that many of us like to find patterns or hidden meanings in everyday life. It's human nature. So when someone says, never keep money in the bathroom because it's a place of disposal, or don't tuck bills under your mattress, that's where negativity accumulates. It can be intriguing. Why? We crave a sense of control. If we're feeling uncertain about finances, hearing a golden rule can feel comforting, like, I'll do that one fix and all my money struggles will vanish. But as you probably suspect, real financial security usually demands a bit more than stashing or not stashing money in certain areas. We attach powerful emotions to money. Money can carry emotional weight, fear of lack, guilt about spending, or hope for a brighter future. Attaching a taboo or a superstition can intensify those feelings. Suddenly, storing money in a certain drawer becomes loaded with meaning, stories, and cultural traditions. In various cultures, people pass down interesting beliefs about where to keep valuables. Some revolve around luck, blessings, or even spiritual protection. While these can be fascinating from a cultural standpoint, they aren't automatically universal truths. Now, it's not inherently wrong to be mindful of how you treat money, but the trouble begins when you start believing that your finances are doomed unless you follow extremely specific location-based instructions. That can lead to anxiety and confusion, two energies that genuinely hamper clear decision-making around money. Drop a comment below if you've ever followed a quirky money rule you found on the internet, only to realize it didn't actually change your financial reality. Let's share the truth that real abundance typically involves more than a single hack. So, do surroundings matter at all? Sure, in the sense that a chaotic, cluttered environment can add stress or mental fog. If you can't find your important documents because they're hidden under piles of clothes or old electronics, that's a problem. On the flip side, a tidy, welcoming area can help you think more clearly and feel calmer, which in turn supports wiser financial actions. But there's a big leap between acknowledging that organization helps your mental clarity and concluding that a single place like your garage or your kitchen destroys your prosperity. Let's examine how environment might truly matter. Organization fosters discipline. When you keep your money organized, whether physically or digitally, you're more likely to track your budget, pay bills on time, and plan for future goals. That's beneficial. No supernatural forces required. Visual reminders. If you keep money somewhere, you'll see it regularly. It might remind you of your financial priorities. But that effect can be both positive, inspiring you to save or invest, or negative, tempting you to spend. It depends on your mindset, not the location's energy field. Calm surroundings encourage focus. If your desk or closet is a complete war zone, you might feel mentally jumbled every time you open it. But again, that's about your psychological state, not a cosmic curse. In short, the environment can shape your feelings and habits. A messy environment might reflect or worsen disorganized finances. A thoughtful, intentional space might help you adopt healthy money habits. But it's not about attracting poverty if you slip up. Now, let's address the commonly cited bad spots for money and see if they truly have mystical negative effects. Under the mattress. Some sources insist that money under the mattress is weighed down or tainted by restless sleep. But historically, many folks kept money under mattresses simply for convenience or out of mistrust in banks. The real risk was theft or forgetting it was there. So the real reason to avoid under mattress stashing is security, not an intangible aura of negativity. My money can rest anywhere I choose, and its potential remains based on my decisions and actions, not a hidden label. The kitchen cupboard. It's been claimed that storing money around food could cause wealth to get eaten away. Actually, if you put spare cash in a cookie jar, you might get used to dipping into it for daily small purchases. That habit might hamper saving, but that's about your self-control, not an unstoppable scarcity vortex. I remain in charge of how my money is spent, no matter where it's physically placed in my home. The bathroom. Another claim, the bathroom is about purging, so putting money there flushes your fortune away. Realistically, bathrooms can be humid places prone to water damage, so that's a practical reason not to store valuables there. But physically placing money in a drawer in the bathroom isn't a cosmic trap. If it gets damp, that's a tangible problem, but not a sign of the universe cursing your finances. Money doesn't vanish down the drain. My choices in saving, investing, and spending guide my financial path. Near electronics. Some say that electromagnetic waves from TVs or microwaves cause energetic chaos. In truth, unless physical damage or magnetization is messing with your credit cards, like magnet strips being erased, you're typically fine. The bigger culprit might be impulse spending if you see an ad while you're online. That's about consumer behavior, not invisible fields attacking your money. I maintain a balanced mind around spending decisions, unaffected by random waves or superstitions. The attic. People warn that putting money up high distances you from prosperity. But if your attic is simply a rarely visited space, you might forget that cash if it's out of sight, out of mind. That can hamper your budgeting. But again, it's about practicality and memory, not a mystical blockade. The garage. They say the garage is a transitional zone. Money might drive away. In reality, a garage is just a storage space. If you find it's dusty or you might lose track of an envelope, that's the genuine risk, not a cosmic condemnation. As always, losing track of money physically can lead to forgetting or misplacing it. That's a real risk. The desk drawer. One story suggests that storing money where you deal with tasks and stress binds your finances to negativity. Honestly, if your desk is a calm, organized place, it could be fine. If your desk is chaos, that might reflect in how you handle money. But the solution is to keep your workspace neat, not to panic if there's a few bills in a drawer. It's important to see the real logic behind these cautionary tales. Usually, it's about not forgetting your money, not damaging it, or not letting it unconsciously slip away. The negative consequences come from practical missteps, forgetting, disorganizing, or psychologically associating your cash with tension. None of this is an unstoppable magnet for poverty. If we release the idea that certain corners of our home are financial black holes, what do we embrace instead? We can shift to a viewpoint that encourages mindful stewardship of money. Here are some more constructive beliefs. Money is dynamic. It's a tool, a symbol, an exchange of energy. Where it's physically placed matters less than how effectively you use, save, and invest it. We shape how money flows. Responsible budgeting, planning, and investing typically matter far more than whether you slip that $20 bill under the dresser or in a cookie jar. Positive environment. If you keep your home relatively tidy and your finances well managed, you're setting yourself up for success. There's no need to punish yourself if you temporarily placed cash in the wrong spot. If any of these points resonate, or if you've recently let go of a superstition around money, tell us in the comments how it felt to liberate yourself from that worry. Now that we've cleared the air about superstitions, let's talk about healthy, realistic ways to store or handle money at home. Because while you're free to keep cash where you like, there are still best practices that support your financial well-being. Keep it accessible, yet secure. If you want a small emergency fund in your home, a safe or locked container can be wise. This ensures you remember where it is and it's protected from casual theft or accidental misplacement. You might choose a well-organized desk drawer with a small lock or even a designated shelf or safe. The point is to avoid haphazard stashing that leads to you forgetting how much you've put away. Use clear labeling. Some folks like to label envelopes groceries, emergency, vacation, etc. This method fosters clarity. That's far more empowering than worrying, is it the right or wrong corner to store it? Regular check-ins. Periodically review where you keep cash. Are you building up too many random spots? Consolidating can help you maintain better oversight. This practice also helps you track your net worth, which tends to be a real driver of financial clarity. Digital tools. If you're comfortable, consider using an online bank or a budgeting app. This drastically reduces the fuss of physical money at home. The calm that comes from seeing your money in a single dashboard is often more beneficial than any ritual about physically burying or hiding your bills. I keep my finances organized, trusting that my informed choices pave the way for true prosperity. Money management isn't just about storing or spending. It's also about how you think, feel, and act over time. If you want to avoid poverty, it's more about adopting these kinds of habits. Budgeting, making a plan for your monthly income and expenses. Clarity is power. Saving and investing. Setting aside part of your earnings for future goals or emergencies. A disciplined approach fosters real security. Continuous learning, seeking knowledge on investing, side hustles, or personal finance tips. Generosity, oddly enough, giving can expand your sense of abundance. Sharing with others fosters a mindset of, I have enough to contribute, which often encourages growth. Mindful spending, distinguishing between needs versus wants. Cutting back on impulse buys. When you combine these habits with a balanced environment, like a tidy home and a calm approach to life. You create a robust foundation for wealth building that can't be undone by trivial things like placing money near a TV set. Even with the best approach, life throws curveballs. Job changes, unexpected bills, or emergencies can happen. The difference? A resilient mindset and financial cushion can help you handle them without panic. And guess what? That resilience isn't undone if you store your savings in a bedroom closet or in the attic. It's undone if you never cultivate savings or if you adopt fear-based decision-making. I stay prepared for life's ups and downs through consistent saving and calm self-confidence, no matter where I keep my money. Let's integrate fresh statements that reflect a healthier philosophy around money and the home environment. My finances flourish through planning and positive action, not through fear of location. I release the belief that a single spot in my house can doom my wealth. Each corner of my home supports me because I choose mindful, responsible behaviors. My money is safe because I track it and care for it, not because of any superstition. I am worthy of abundance and I welcome it through wise decisions and loving gratitude. Feel free to say these aloud, perhaps while tidying up your living space or reviewing your bank balances. The repeated practice can shift your mindset from anxious superstition to empowering trust in yourself. Which of these affirmations resonates most deeply with you? Comment below and consider writing it in a place you'll see daily, on a sticky note, your phone wallpaper, or near your desk. We learn best when we share experiences. So let's open the floor. Have you ever lost money in your home simply because it was stashed in an odd location? Did you blame a negative force or realize it was just a matter of forgetting or disorganization? Do you have a story where you overcame financial superstition and found real progress after adopting practical strategies instead? Go ahead and share your story in the comments. Reading each other's experiences can be eye-opening. It helps us see that many of these superstitions are universal, but so are the solutions, like better planning and trusting ourselves. To illustrate, let's consider a few hypothetical examples. Anna's closet conundrum. Anna heard that storing money in her closet was unlucky. She felt uneasy every time she opened that door. But upon reflection, she realized the real issue was that she never counted or organized the bills. Once she started logging everything in a spreadsheet, her sense of peace and control skyrocketed, and her finances flourished. Ben's bathroom hiding spot. Ben was told, keep emergency cash in the toilet tank so no one will find it. After hearing cautionary tales that this would flush away wealth, he worried constantly. Eventually, water damaged the bills, and the only real negative result was the cost to replace them. The morale? Physical damage is more of a real risk than bad mojo. Carla's kitchen poverty cupboard. Carla read that the kitchen is where money gets consumed. She found that each time she needed small change for groceries, she raided her kitchen stash. So, naturally, it dwindled quickly. She realized that her repeated usage was the culprit, not any mysterious negativity. After shifting to a sealed jar labeled "Do Not Touch," she successfully saved for a family outing. In each scenario, fear of a certain location overshadowed the true cause: lack of structure, poor memory, or just daily habits. Once that was addressed, the result was a calmer, more confident financial situation. Let's outline a step-by-step process to deepen your sense of prosperity that doesn't revolve around avoiding certain rooms or corners. Set clear financial goals. Are you saving for a vacation, a home, or an emergency fund? When your goals are concrete, you gain motivation. Choose a storage method that feels good: a small safe, a dedicated envelope system, or a locked drawer, whatever you prefer. Confidence matters more than anything. Organize and review weekly or monthly. Look at your finances regularly to ensure you know exactly what's coming in and going out. Express gratitude. Each time you add money to your chosen spot, say, I appreciate this resource and will use it wisely. This fosters a warm mindset of appreciation, not fear. Stay curious and adapt. As you learn more about budgeting, investing, or minimalism, integrate new ideas. Growth is ongoing, encouraging words. You're free to store money wherever you choose, as long as it's secure and easy for you to manage. If a certain location truly makes you uneasy, for cultural, personal, or any reason, that's fine. Pick a spot that feels calm and uplifting. The bigger story is that your personal sense of ownership and responsibility over finances is your greatest ally. If this overview has helped you question old beliefs and adopt a new perspective, hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. We have more videos coming on emotional well-being, finances, and building real wealth from the inside out. Some people claim that certain parts of your home can drain positive energy, leading to catastrophes. Yet the real catastrophe might be ignoring your budget or not building up an emergency fund. Worries about intangible negativity can distract from the tangible steps that foster success. Let's emphasize one crucial point. Superstitions can be interesting, but they should never overshadow practical knowledge and decisive action. Encouragement. If you find comfort in spiritual or cultural traditions, great. Honor them in ways that bring you peace. Just remember that the ultimate driver of your financial trajectory is usually your daily choices. Even the most strongly stated belief about a bad place for money can't override consistent saving, wise investing, and a stable mindset. Your home is supposed to be a sanctuary, not a labyrinth of possible traps. Let's practice transforming any leftover anxiety. Look around your room right now. If you spot money in a place that you previously deemed wrong, take a breath. Ask yourself, am I physically harming my money here? Am I ignoring it? Or is it just quietly lying in an envelope? Decide. If you want to keep it there, that's okay. If you prefer to relocate it to a single secure container, do so calmly. Remind yourself, this rearrangement isn't about escaping a curse, it's about clarity and peace of mind. My home nurtures me and my finances, and I can choose how to arrange my life with intention and ease. You might see certain spiritual suggestions. Place your money near crystals or lucky charms, or use specific colors or plant types. If such rituals inspire confidence or joy, they can be beneficial psychologically, giving you that extra push to manage funds wisely. Yet no charm or crystal alone can overshadow reckless spending or ignoring your bills. So feel free to use these symbolic enhancements if they align with your beliefs. Just remember, they amplify your mindset, they don't single-handedly create results. Do you have a small altar or symbolic item you like to pair with your finances? Comment below and let us know if it's helped you stay mindful or relaxed. If you've got a moment, try a brief mental exercise no matter where your money is physically located. Close your eyes, unless you're driving, and imagine a comforting glow surrounding you. See your home. Picture every room, from the attic to the garage to your bedroom, all radiating a gentle, supportive light. Visualize your money, bills, coins, or even digital accounts. They rest calmly wherever you've placed them. No fear, no negative aura. Feel gratitude for the fact that you have something to keep, even if it's a small amount. It signifies possibility. Affirm, every corner of my space is safe for me, my thoughts, and my resources. I create prosperity by how I choose to live. Repeat or adapt this practice whenever anxious thoughts creep in about bad spots. Over time, you'll retrain your mind to see your environment as a collaborator in abundance, not an enemy. Someone might say, "But I truly had a run of bad luck after storing money in my basement. That can't be a coincidence." Let's respond with empathy. Sometimes we do see patterns, but we also have to weigh the role of everyday life factors. Could an unforeseen expense have coincided with that new location? Did we simply feel uneasy, leading us to worry more, thus noticing negative events more acutely? Could mismanagement or stress have overshadowed rational decisions? It's natural to connect the dots in a cause and effect story. However, correlation doesn't always equal a mystical cause. Our invitation is to remain open-minded and practical. If changing money's location helps your mental peace, go for it. If you realize it's purely about forgetting to pay a bill on time, fix that. No shame in either approach, just strive for clarity. A healthy community thrives on respectful dialogue. So, are you convinced that certain spots in a home truly sabotage finances? Or do you agree it's more about our mindset and habits? Drop your stance in the comments. If you disagree wholeheartedly with the notion that location is irrelevant, let's talk. We can keep it friendly and explore different cultural or spiritual backgrounds. Maybe we'll find common ground or learn from each other's stories. Chances are you have a friend or family member who's anxious about money and might believe wholeheartedly that storing it in the wrong spot caused their woes. How do you help them? Offer gentle curiosity. Ask them about their overall financial habits. Often, real trouble stems from overspending or lack of budgeting, not a specific closet. Encourage knowledge. Suggest they watch practical personal finance videos or read books that emphasize budgeting, saving, investing. Knowledge can dispel fear. Remind them they have control. Reaffirm that they can reorganize or move their money, but emphasize the bigger victory is learning to manage finances well. If you know someone weighed down by these worries, share this video. It might help them realize they're not doomed and that supportive routines can break the cycle. We've covered a lot of territory and uncovered some eye-opening ideas. So let's gather the essential points. No single spot or item in your home is an automatic source of trouble. Sometimes fretting over particular object inviting poverty only distracts from your actual financial habits. The atmosphere of your environment does matter in terms of organization, comfort, and emotional well-being. Clutter can breed confusion, yet that's more about practical choices, not any unchangeable doom. Fears rooted in superstition can rob you of peace of mind. In reality, your consistent efforts, be they saving, budgeting, or investing, usually carry more impact than any symbolic item in your bedroom. You always hold the reins. It's completely up to you whether you keep certain objects or move them elsewhere, so long as you're guided by clarity rather than dread. In truth, your positive intent and mindfulness are what truly generate supportive energy. Perhaps what's even more intriguing is the potential to build on these insights in a way that not only calms any lingering anxieties, but also lays a steady foundation for future prosperity. Instead of feeling pressured by so-called rules that certain items cast spells of financial ruin, you can create the conditions for growth by focusing on daily practical steps toward better finances and letting your home reflect the calm and assurance you're cultivating within. Have a question on practical money management or want advice on how best to arrange your living space for peace of mind? Share it in the comments. Your question might spark a whole new video. We'd love to know how you plan to integrate these ideas into your daily life. You've spent valuable time here exploring why certain bedroom items don't automatically attract poverty or limit your success. If there's one major takeaway, it's this: your financial health isn't dictated by harmless objects. It's far more dependent on your willingness to adapt, learn, and trust yourself. Maybe you're sensing a nudge to let go of old stories, like believing your bedside table is an omen for your bank account. If so, today's a great day to rearrange with confidence, tidy up that mindset, and embrace a more uplifting perspective on what truly brings abundance. Closing affirmations and encouragement. I oversee my financial journey, choosing clarity and confidence over needless worry. I find gratitude and reassurance each time I see my savings, reminding me I can shape my own path. No everyday item holds power over my destiny because I stand at the center of my success. Thank you for joining in this deeper look at how bedroom items really don't sabotage your finances. One small step, like rethinking your room setup or reviewing your daily habits, can ease your anxiety and let prosperity flow in a more organic, fulfilling way. If you feel inspired by these ideas, do me a favor. Click that like button right now so more people find this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and consider sharing this conversation with someone who's been worried about so-called bad luck objects. Hearing a calmer perspective might be just what they need. And finally, I'd love to know, after all of this, are you swapping your decor around? Or are you realizing it's all fine just as it is, no fear required? Let me know in the comments. As you step back into your day, remember, a bedroom that supports peace of mind is one that fosters personal growth, but it's you who decides what and how to place things. Here's to moving forward without needless worry and with full faith in your ability to shape your own life. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll unravel yet another surprising misconception that's been circling around, one that might just make you rethink a different area of your home altogether. You won't want to miss it. Until next time, take care of your well-being, honor your personal style, and above all, trust in your capacity to create the financial security and happiness you deserve. Remember, objects in your home aren't the drivers of your prosperity, you are.